Okay, so you haven't gone to the gym, but that's the plan.
That's the plan.
And what kind of like fitness are you going for? Do you want to get like slender, lean, muscly?
Well, I figured they're going to ask me what my fitness level is, and I'm going to be like,
You're going to say 0, Niamh.
gamer. Just like, I can't do anything. I can barely move. My body's more of a concept than a real thing. So I figure they'll figure out a plan, but what I'm looking for is upper body strength and speed.
Do you want to chase people or run away from people?
The striker type.
Both. And like, if my legs get tired, I can probably get onto an all fours and do kind of a gallop with my new muscle arms. That's how people run, right?
I've watched the Olympics. That is how they race in the Olympics. They use all 4 appendages to propel themselves across the track.
Are we going?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys ever worry about like if orcs were real?
Like, not once ever.
Maybe as a child one time when I was doing my Warhammer painting, but not since then.
Yeah, because I could just see that coming with like a lot of problems, you know, considering what we've done.
What have we done?
Well, I feel like, okay, so say orcs are real and they emerge from their like subterranean kingdom.
Yeah.
We've created a lot of really problematic media.
It's okay. Show them the film Bright and they'll be like, okay.
Yeah, that's the only one we show them, and that's the only use case that Bright is helpful.
Oh, thank God for Bright. Because I feel like aliens could come down from the sky, right? And they'd kind of watch half our stuff and be like, oh, you know, that Alien trilogy, that was really upsetting to us. Mm-hmm. But you know what, E.T., that was pretty good.
Or Mass Effect.
Yeah, Mass Effect. Like, there's loads of stuff. But, like, if orcs fucking watched, like, one film of Lord of the Rings, they'd be like, what is wrong with you?
I'm sure you could show them Warcraft. That's a bit of a...
Are you serious?
It's a big cultural
that
phenomenon.
Would be, like, the most racist, offensive shit in the entire world.
There's
but don't people roleplay as orcs?
Is there? Yeah. There's a lot of sexual dimorphism in World of Warcraft. So basically the female orc is just a green lady.
No, you're right. I was thinking of Warhammer. That would be very offensive.
Oh, yeah.
There's orc magic in Warhammer, and when they want something to go faster, they paint it red, but because they believe it goes faster, it actually does because of orc magic.
I know in recent years in Warhammer, the tabletop game, they have buffed the shit out of orcs because they were kind of like an underdog class, and now they're like OP. So maybe they'd be kind of appreciative of, like, you know, the advantage dice rolls that they get.
Where did you get your Warhammer knowledge, Bryan?
There's a couple of people at work that kind of tell me stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then they'll keep talking, and I'm like, okay, cool. No, like, we're done. We could talk about this again next year. Like, I don't need to know anymore.
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast. The world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with 2 of the most pro-orc activists you will ever meet. To my left, it's the Greenskin. It's Niamh.
Hi.
And to my right, it's the horned dodger. It's Bryan.
I'm a pale orc.
And with you always, I'm your host, Jord.
Jord.
I think someone said that on Twitter today.
Jorm.
I was giving some spicy opinions on Twitter and people weren't happy.
Yeah, they were very stupid. Very silly thing to say on the internet.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about what you type on the internet.
No, you don't.
It's written in ink and in GIFs.
GIFs last forever.
Yeah. That shit's going to be hosted up there way after we're gone.
Yeah.
Do you think the 10 Commandments would be in GIF form if it happened now?
There would probably be a BuzzFeed abridged version of it, yes. And it would have the one of Jonah Hill screaming from Get Him to the Greek, because that GIF is so overused. They would have the one of the girl from Dance Mom doing that stupid fucking smile.
Which one's that?
It's the one where it's the girl who was the daughter of this. No, sorry, not Dance Moms. Toddlers and Tiaras.
Oh, that show scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. So there's a very famous gif of one of the main girls, the little blonde girl, and she does like this weird smile, but it's like she keeps like pointing her chin downwards. It's a very popular gif.
What do you guys like favorite gif? I like the one of the dudes sweating because I feel like it comes up in my life a lot.
That was good. I really like the one where it's a woman walking around and she keeps seeing stuff like veg and out and homo and curry puffs, and she starts running away because gay panic. It's very good. Or there's a sheep falling down a hill in rain and lightning. Really like that one.
Oh wow, that one sounds good.
I like any gifs where someone has just like clipped a 1930s cartoon to a 1950s cartoon. So like a Silly Symphonies, like skeletons dancing, or like a Tex Avery short. I just like seeing them preserved.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that they get repurposed like that.
Yeah, as long as they're not the awful ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Oh, okay. So Disney Plus is not available in Europe, obviously, but they are showing like the old cartoons, but they have the disclaimer at the beginning where it's like, these have not been cut, but there is some historical problematic elements to them.
I think it's cool that they do that because
Yeah.
that shit shouldn't be forgotten.
I know with the Looney Tunes they had Whoopi Goldberg introduce them because she's such a animation nerd.
And she really wanted... She's a real advocate for, like, let's get the racist side of Disney exposed and out in the light.
Yeah, and just be criticized.
Yeah. What's the film she wants?
Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Which is... people were like, is that going to be on Disney Plus? No, it's not. A film that came out in the 1940s and won an Oscar. And is a ride in Disneyland, and you have no context for it. Disney is fucking weird.
Disney's so fucking weird.
We'll get back to Disney Plus in a bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Did you
Guys, I watched Dr. Sleep.
Ooh.
The exciting new chapter in the Shining story.
As a Shining fan, are you excited? Were you excited?
Yeah, I was excited.
Okay.
So I really feel like it is an unreasonable expectation to go into this thing being like, here we go, Shining 2, baby. And that's totally not how I was approaching it. And I'm glad, because this film, at least most of it, is really, really not The Shining 2. This is a movie about psychics versus vampires.
Fucking amazing. Okay.
And they're not technically vampires, but they're fucking vampires.
Okay.
They're an immortal race that sustain their life by draining the soul out of people.
Yeah, it's pretty much
They're
vampire.
pretty, and they're some of them are really hot. So,
Vampire.
yep, total vampire. And basically the story takes up like, I think maybe 30, even 40 years after The Shining. Danny has grown up and he's an alcoholic, just like his old man.
Oh dear.
Yep. He has psychic powers and he makes friends with a little girl, and the vampires base this sounds so weird, but this is the kind of shit Stephen King writes when he's not writing horror.
He writes a book a year. He's very prolific.
Yep. The vampires basically ride across America in giant expensive trailers, like scanning America, finding psychics and eating them.
So the soul of a psychic is more like desirable? Do they eat only psychic
I think
souls?
it's only the psychic souls that
Okay.
can sustain them.
Wow, okay.
And so they'll get the psychic, and even though all they need to do is like draw the soul out with this abstract ritual, the more frightened the psychic is, the better the soul tastes. And so
Okay.
they'll be like slicing it up with knives and stuff.
That's so horrible.
Yeah.
These,
So it doesn't need to be violent, but they purposely make it violent because it makes the meat soul taste better?
You gotta season that pig.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a child this time.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's totally a child because they've eaten all the adult psychics.
oh dear.
Oh dear.
So this child girl meets Ewan McGregor.
Child girl.
And hijinks ensue. It's a weird one, you know, because like,
Is the hotel in it?
is that a spoiler?
It's The Shining 2, no.
But like, and if so, why?
Yeah, and the hotel's in Ready Player One. It is not sacred ground anymore.
Yeah.
You fucking take that back. Elements of The Shining definitely feature heavily in this movie. For starters, like, a lot of the ghosts in The Shining kind of get jobbed out. You guys familiar with that term? Okay, in professional wrestling
term. Yeah, okay.
When you want to make one wrestler look strong, you have to have them convincingly beat another wrestler. So you take someone who's kind of mid-card and you put them in the ring with the wrestler you want to promote and have them take an ass whooping. You job them out.
Like Yamcha.
Yamcha is a great example of a jobber.
Okay.
Old woman from the bathtub, job the fuck out.
Okay.
Gets her ass kicked.
By the vampires.
By the vampires? No. By the girl?
Yes, kind of.
Tag team with...
No, more separate instances.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
Because you never really leave the hotel.
Sure.
And this was actually something they did kind of interesting at the start of the movie, but I think it ended up just being a weird homage as opposed to like anything like thematic or story based. But there's like a scene taking place in an office, and I think it's an interview or something, but it's the exact room or like a replica of the room that the interview takes place at in The Shining. And I was like, oh fuck, maybe we never left the hotel, man. Maybe we never left it. It's nothing that interesting. I liked this movie though. Like, I had fun with it. Basically, okay, I'm gonna get kind of spoilery now, so I guess we'll drop a spoiler tag in the description if you want to skip. But eventually, we go back to the hotel, and this is a good maybe 2 hours into the movie. But someone's like,
yeah, is this 3 hours long?
we have to go back to the hotel. No, I think it's like 2.5 or something.
Okay.
They don't need to go back to the hotel.
They do, because the hotel is the only place that houses a being stronger than the head vampire, Mrs. Hatz.
Is Mrs. Hatz the old woman?
No, Mrs. Hatz is the head vampire.
Oh, Mrs. Okay, but who's the being in the house who's stronger than...
The hotel itself.
Oh. That's some control type shit.
The framed photo of everyone at the 4th of July party.
Okay, so things get really wild and they start recreating shots from The Shining in a way that I thought was maybe a little too pandery. Like, I was on board for a certain amount of Shining fan service, but this was maybe a little much, I thought. But one of the fucking craziest things I've ever seen in cinema happens in this movie. And that is that Danny Final Fantasy summons the ghosts from The Shining and shoots them at the head vampire.
Okay.
That's OP.
Yeah.
Okay, so is he a necromancer?
He has trapped all the ghosts from The Shining in Pokeball-esque contraptions.
Huh.
Yeah.
And this
like
is
physical contraptions. This isn't him trapping them with his mind.
No, he's trapping them with his mind. But
Okay.
inside metaphorical boxes.
Oh, so he's compartmentalized his mind and his trauma into kind of boxes?
He has constructed the hedge maze in his mind, and lining the hedge maze are little wooden boxes with all the ghosts he's trapped.
My man.
That's cool.
See, that's like, I couldn't really dislike this movie. There's a really fun gunfight in the middle with just a bunch of vampires getting shot over and over. There's some good creepy bits to it. Like, they know there's some very visually unsettling ghosts in The Shining, and they know how to leverage them very well. Like, one shot is literally a long hallway, and at the end of the hallway there's a dark bathroom, and in the bath, looking out of the bath, is the woman, and you can just about make her out, and it's really cool. Like, it looks fucked up.
And is this a horror movie or is it an action fantasy?
It's an action fantasy until they go back to the hotel, and then they're like, it's The Shining again.
I love this. This sounds great.
I had a good time with it, and like, the cast it's fine.
Yeah, I like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, it's got Obi-Wan.
Ewan McGregor's fine. The little girl is like giving it socks. She's great.
And Mrs. Hatz?
Mrs. Hatz is very charming, very charismatic.
How gay?
Oh, pretty gay.
Okay.
I can't remember, but there was definitely a point in the film where I was like, oh, Niamh would like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, like I had a good time with it. It was didn't blow my mind, but it sure killed 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want from a cinema experience in a lot of ways.
I think it was kind of the best reasonable outcome.
Weren't there kids in the audience that were like,
Oh fuck. Okay, so this was
Why was there kids?
this was the best
were
thing.
like teenagers?
So I
Oh.
went to see this in the cinema, right? And there was a group of teenagers sitting behind us. And initially I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Because like they were a little chatty. They weren't too bad. But as the film went on, I realized something amazing. And that was that these teenagers had not only never seen The Shining, but had no concept that it existed. Just didn't know what it was.
So it's just teenagers going to see a movie to kill time.
Yeah.
Because
And they went to see
Yeah.
Dr. Sleep.
yeah.
And so I heard just these fucking amazing things like, oh shit, it's the twins. And then one of them goes, well, what are they from? And the guy just goes, the trailer. And at the end of it, the credits roll. And I just hear the guy behind me go, what the fuck was that about? He was like, did any of you understand that movie? Because like, if you haven't seen The Shining, like, a lot of this,
Yeah,
it does not meet you halfway, you
there's
know?
no fucking point. I
Yeah.
don't know why you would.
And I had to stop myself, like, turning around to them and just being like, what was that like?
Yeah.
You know? But I also didn't want to be a creepy man talking to teenagers in a cinema.
You sure?
No.
Someday.
There's time for all that.
Yeah.
That was Dr. Sleep. I recommend it. I think if you're open to like that kind of modern action fantasy, nearly kind of supernaturally vibe, that's that movie. And it's fun, and the cast is good, and it's got some cool visual horror. Sure as fuck isn't like an actual sequel to The Shining, but it's
Didn't he write this because he did a poll and it was just like, next Dark Materials are like a sequel to The Shining. Which one do you want?
Did he?
Yeah, and this won out by 6%. And
Wait,
he was just like, okay.
for the Watchtower or wait, no.
Dark Tower.
Dark Tower, that's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting all these mixed up.
But yeah, I think it won out from a poll by like 6%. And he was like, fine, I'll write a sequel then.
So it's kind of funny because Stephen King notoriously really hates the film Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And one of the things he hates most is that like nothing happens to the hotel in Kubrick's version. But in the book, Stephen King the hotel blows up at the end.
Mm.
And in the made for TV movie, the 2-part or the 3-part series or 2-part, I don't remember, the hotel blows up in the end of that one. And this one, the sequel to The Shining, the hotel, which was like heavily involved by Stephen King, the hotel also blows up because he really wants that fucking hotel to blow up.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Gotta get rid of it. Niamh, you saw Terminator Dark Fate.
I did. And kind of similar to your experience with The Shining, it's kind of interesting to revisit Terminator as a franchise. There has been 3 since Terminator 2. There's been Terminator 3, which most people don't like, but I like because Claire Danes is in it and she's a vet, which just speaks to me on a very personal level. Salvation and Genesis also exist.
Yeah.
Which one is the one with the like bikes? It's very futuristic.
Salvations is the one that takes place in the future.
Yeah.
That's
And
such a fucking amazing trailer.
and
a
that's got
shitty movie.
What a shitty movie.
I really dislike Salvation. I'm one of the people who likes the previous one with
Genesis.
Yeah, I like that movie. I like Emilia Clarke.
I can understand that. So this is Dark Fate, and this is like this comes after 2, or it doesn't. You can just see it as an alternative timeline, which
Yeah,
is
fuck it.
totally fine with me.
They did that with the TV show anyway, so
Yeah. It's Sarah Connor Chronicles, which
that
is really
correct?
good. Yeah, it's fun. Lena Headey as Sarah Connor, good time.
Sold.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dr. Sleep in a way, is kind of revisiting of Terminator 2. It's kind of nearly a retelling in the same way that Star Wars Force Awakens is kind of like a soft retelling of A New Hope. So there's kind of beats that happen that is quite similar to 2, but it's at a different timeline. It's really nice to see Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor be back as like an old badass lady. And I kind of really like this as someone who was a fan of, obviously, the Terminator movies, is to kind of revisit these characters. Same with, like, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode and Halloween.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's like, it's not just like you get to see them again and they're cool and badass. You get to see them again and it kind of acknowledges the trauma and the horror of what happened to them the first time round.
Yeah, that it's like someone in contemporary times who have suffered 80s schlocky movies.
Yeah.
And like the real impact of it now.
Yeah, like it's not schlock to them.
Yeah. It kind of existed, and it isn't like this kind of like, you know, before you kind of like get revisits to these kind of things and it's like, you know, Terminator's still cool, everyone's still fine with everything. But now we're kind of getting this revisit where it's like, that what happened was horrible. That was really traumatic. Like with Laurie Strode and Halloween, it's like she's lived in fear and she's passed that fear down to her kids. And now with Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor in this, she's an alcoholic and she cannot know peace, and she's just consistently not living a life for herself. She's kind of doing it. Her mission is just to kill Terminators, and everything else suffers, like her physical health, her personal health. And I just thought that was a cool thing to kind of revisit in today's age. There's a very controversial opening scene in this movie.
Okay.
Extremely controversial, that a lot of people have kind of written off the movie for. And I don't know if I should say it because it is a spoiler, but it literally happens as part of the opening credit.
I think that's okay.
Okay, well, we can timestamp it, but it shows basically directly after T2, and this is young Sarah Connor and young John Connor. And Sarah's watching John ordering a drink at a bar, and he's living his best life. He's like smiling at a girl, and they've done the de-aging, and they look fantastic. Like this, like, you could tell me this was real footage from the time. Everyone looks great.
That's okay.
Who's
we'll get to that.
the actor that plays John Connor again? Furlong?
Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong, yeah. He doesn't look like that kid anymore.
No.
I don't know who that is at all, but I know that name.
That child boy, he looks really good in this, and I think it's because they don't speak. But John Connor dies. He gets obliterated by a Terminator on that beach, and Sarah Connor does not know peace from that moment. So a lot of people are really angry because they're like, what is the Terminator series without John Connor? And I think if that's your take of Terminator, I think you're missing the whole point of Sarah Connor.
Yes, the key player in the Terminator.
It's like, it's kind of a weird one, especially since John Connor was prevalent in 3, Genesis, and like Revelations, and like they weren't exactly blockbusters either. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's a reason to not go see this movie. I've seen
that's an odd choice.
I've seen literal tweets that are just like, that's like taking Jesus out of the Bible. And I don't know if you've read the Bible, but Jesus dies there too. So like, it's fucking fine. Just like,
do not try and out Catholic Niamh.
It's just like, it's one movie out of 6. Fucking deal with it. This has an alternate retelling, and Sarah is now going around the world. She's getting secret texts that is this giving out coordinates where she'll find a Terminator, and at the end of each one it says for John. So she's going to these locations and she's kicking the shit of every Terminator that's thrown up.
Cool.
She's just blasting them with rocket launchers.
Oh yeah, she's coming packing heat, and Linda Hamilton looks amazing. She's just like holding a rocket launcher. She looks dope. She's in her 60s.
She's really, really small
she
as well.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rocket launcher must be huge.
Yeah. This story starts with a woman called Danny, and she's going to a factory with her brother, and her brother's job has been replaced by automation. So we're really all into like the themes are on the nose, but they're doing them.
Yeah.
And they're doing them well. So from there on out, Danny is being chased by a new type of Terminator. And this Terminator's catch, like the one from 2, is he has the liquid skin and he can kind of slip in and out of shit. But his kind of ultimate catch in this is he can separate his flesh version of himself and his skeleton.
he can make a Gooigi.
He can make a Gooigi.
Oh dear.
But he's the Gooigi, and the skeleton, the physical one, is kind of an automated thing.
So it can drive a truck while he's doing the dirty work.
Yes, and it's very clear that this is the one that's brainless because it's literally missing half its skull. Like it's on the nose, but it looks cool. And this Terminator is scary. Like this guy is coming at them with full force. Another person comes back from the future, and I say person because it's a human augmented, and this is Grace, and her mission is to protect Danny all costs.
Is she the girl who's like kind of built?
Yeah, this is Mackenzie Davis. It's really nice, just from my perspective, to kind of have a butchy looking woman on TV. I think it's really cool. She looks great, and Mackenzie Davis is like 5'10", and she's just ripped, and she's wielding a sledgehammer. It's fucking dope. Best thing I can say is the action sequences are so tight. Like the first action sequence is on a highway involving cars, and it is like edge of your seat shit, and that Terminator seems relentless. It's a fun watch, and it's a fun action movie. It is brave in its themes, and it really puts them out there.
Okay.
So it's these three women trying to keep one of them safe with this relentless attacker. And it is, for the most part, just like a really good action movie. I do think it kind of lulls in the second half. Kind of doesn't keep the momentum going as well as it should.
Sounds fun though.
It is fun.
Is Arnie in this as well?
Arnie is in this, and he's kind of... I love the character he plays. He plays a character called Carl, who does drapery.
What? Wait, is Carl like the prototype for the Terminator?
Carl is one of the Terminators. Carl is the Terminator that kills John Connor.
Oh no.
What? But he also does drapery?
He found his humanity.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
And so this is an older Terminator. Well, it's a Terminator disguised to look like an older man.
Yeah.
Who does drapery.
Yeah.
But it's a front.
It's a front.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
It is fun, and there's a lot of humor to it. There's some parts of Carl's character that I found weak, like Sarah should want to kick his ass, and she does, but I think they come to a resolution way too quickly. I feel like that they should be at odds way more. But as a fun action movie, this is definitely worth your time, and I don't know why people are acting like Terminator specifically is this pinnacle of fucking action movies everywhere, and this somehow has shit on its legacy. This is a way more competent movie than the last three of them.
Yeah, and even like the first two movies, like I really enjoy both those movies, but the first one is basically a horror movie.
Yeah.
And the second one is like an action movie, and then the other movies happen.
Yeah. So I think this is like, if you like, and I think if you Google Terminator Dark Fate right now, the first few articles and a lot of YouTube videos that will come up is that it lost a lot of money at the box office. So did the last three. Like, it just feels like there's this weird conversation about this, because I think it's because there's three women as the leads, and it kind of deals with like political themes, and people are just not down for it, and it's really disappointing because if this did well, they could have gone further with it. I don't think they will now, but it's genuinely a very well choreographed, high-paced action movie that has a lot more to say than just nothing, you know? And sometimes it's a bit heavy-handed in what it's trying to say.
It's a Terminator movie.
Yeah, but it's Terminator, and it's trying, you know? And it looks fucking cool, and the Terminator's dope and scary. Like, I think it's definitely worth your time. If I've convinced anyone, please go see it or buy it on Blu-ray. Just, you know, give it a go. Torrent it. I don't know. Watch it. Just see it.
Just cycle it back a minute where you're contributing to the problem.
No, I just think people should see it, like, and talk about it. Like, because there's just this one dialogue about it just sucking, and I don't think that's true at all.
Just boost it.
Yeah, just boost it.
Brian.
Yeah, oh yeah. So speaking of torrenting, I watched The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I went on
gonna get a sponsor of this fucking podcast.
I went on a website called the Pirate Bay because
Brian.
Disney Plus is not available in Europe.
It's not available for another year at least.
You know what? No, that is one thing I think. If a license holder does not make it accessible for you, fuck them.
Yeah, like The Lighthouse and Parasite, those two movies, like hotly anticipated, like award buzz movies, are not available in Ireland until early 2020. So if you're left with no option, tough shit. So I watched The Mandalorian. I watched that sweet web rip of it. There's only one episode out at the moment. I think there's 8 episodes going to be made, and they're bringing them out from now until the end of the year. And I really enjoyed it. Did you guys watch it?
Hell no.
Oh, it's on my list.
It's very good.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect when I was watching it, and I was like, all right, I'm down. Takes place shortly after the events of Return of the Jedi, but before Force Awakens. So the Empire has fallen, and the galaxy is rebuilding itself, and there's a shift in politics. None of that matters really, except in that characters aren't sure what currency to go with, because it seems like galactic coins aren't really worth shit anymore.
That's cool. That's interesting.
And you follow a Mandalorian, and a Mandalorian is the Bounty Hunter Guild in Star Wars. The most famous Mandalorian is Boba Fett.
Sorry, Brian, that's pronounced Jango Fett.
Jango Fett is a... Shut the fuck up.
Jango Fett is Jar Jar Binks' best friend, and the two use the Enterprise to save Picard from the Wookiees.
Gonna let that sink in.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
How expensive is this?
I think it looks great. I think it's a nice blend of goofy-looking puppets and some nice 3D spaceships landing on some rocky terrain, which is what you want. Mm-hmm. You know the puppet that used to sit on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it.
Oh, yay.
So there's one of them being barbecued in a street market, and then the other one is in a cage looking at it going... And I was like...
That's pretty funny.
Yes!
Oh, you've already mentioned my favorite thing in Star Wars, and that's the street market. Just a market scene in Star Wars is the exact perfect thing, because you get to see a little taster of all the different like cultures and aliens and foods and different things that's going on. It's great.
Oh, as well, because the Empire has fallen, there's stormtroopers in it, but they don't know what to do, and their suits are real dirty. So they're not even like pristine white anymore. They're all like dusty.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's like a few like scuffs and scratches on their armor, because like they don't know. They're just like freelance assholes now. So you follow a Mandalorian whose name is Din Djarin. You do not see his face. He's played by Pedro Pascal, who was in Game of Thrones as Oberyn Martell. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
The mountain crushed his eyes out?
Yeah. He's hot, and they're
He's
hiding
great.
his face.
Oh, yeah. And he barely speaks, and he's playing like a Clint Eastwood kind of guy. Like, this is totally a Western. It's got like Cowboy Bebop
he likes
vibes.
boys on girls.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know that. Is he super ripped in this? Because he looks like he bulked up for the Mandalorian.
I don't know, because you can't see. It's literally a fucking tin can. Like there is no skin or human flesh available on viewing pleasure for the first episode. But the last 5 minutes it really ramps up, and it had me hooked. Like the first episode kind of starts off, and you're kind of like, all right, this could just be like Han Solo movie, whatever. It takes place in the Star Wars universe. Might not be anything particularly groundbreaking, but then the last 5 minutes you're kind of like, oh, this is adding to the lore. This is great. You have a droid bounty hunter in it who's played by Taika Waititi.
Oh, fun.
But he's not doing a New Zealand accent, and I didn't know it was Taika Waititi unless you like sought out the information. But he plays this really weird droid who doesn't have a front or a back. He rotates 360 degrees to aim at whatever he needs to.
There's something very frightening about that.
And so he's walking around, and I would describe him as, I guess, like a fold out, like collapsible, like you know when you need to hang up all your laundry on one of those like
a clothes horse?
Yeah, it's like a clothes horse, but like a circular clothes horse, but as a droid, where like his arms are on a rail.
Oh.
Right, okay, yeah.
And he's also real into like self-destructing, because like he's on a mission but he can't get captured because his tech is so like coveted that like if he knows he's going to lose, he's going to start his countdown. And the main guy hates droids, which I think is very funny. There's a bit where like he gets into a speeder, but then he sees that there's an R2 unit in the speeder, and he's like, no, not that one. I'd rather just go with a life form driving the car, please. I don't trust droids. So weird.
That's weird. That's never been a thing in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Maybe in the comics.
So he's definitely got a chip in his shoulder about a couple things. There's a bit where they show a flashback. That bit's just padding. I don't know. But the last like minute of the episode, they have a hook, and you're like sold.
Has anyone mentioned Skywalker or
No.
Jedi?
There might be Jedi in this show.
Okay.
Would you want Skywalkers in it, Niamh?
Well, given that it's in directly within this timeline, no, I don't know. No, I wouldn't want Skywalkers, but I wouldn't mind someone like...
Because when I think of spin-offs like this sometimes, like I think if they were to do a Game of Thrones spin-off, which they are, like what kind of shit would I want to see? And I'd want a spin-off series set exclusively in one of the just fucking mud villages, and just everyone just miserable and the politics of that village. And I don't want to see any Lannisters. I don't want to see any Starks.
You don't have to see them, but the Lannisters and Starks are so influential in the like world that they would probably mention them, even just to be like,
no, totally,
they're
totally,
dicks,
yeah.
you know?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get you. You don't want Skywalkers to appear. You want the echoes of Skywalker's felt.
It's just like more kind of acknowledgement of what has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there's repercussions.
and their role in it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
In the first episode of the show, they managed to walk the line of kind of acknowledging a more established universe while also building up its own thing.
Okay.
Cool.
And
But
you're
this
into
is
this.
Yeah, but this is only the first episode.
Do you think I'd like this, Bryan?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Do you feel it's closer to Force Awakens or the older stuff? Like where visually and just tonally, where do you kind of put this?
Visually, it looks like Force Awakens.
Okay.
Tonally, it's like Empire Strikes Back
Okay.
because it's a
Cool.
bit edgy.
Really? Okay, yeah, because I a lot of this new Star Wars films, I feel like they do have that kind of family-friendly sheen to them.
No, this isn't family friendly.
JJ.
Interesting.
This is like it is written by Jon Favreau, who made like the first two Iron Man movies and made that Lion King movie that came out this year.
Oh.
But it's got different directors every episode. I think like each director gets 2 episodes. So the guy who directed the first episode, because I found this super interesting, I'm just going to get the director's name up. He's a guy called Dave Filoni, and this is the first live action thing he's ever directed.
He's like an animator?
He is a storyboard artist and animator and director on The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra.
That is so cool.
And then Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, she's directing 2 episodes as well. Because she's gotten into directing. It seems like they're giving everyone a shot.
Yeah, I mean, may as well. It's their TV show.
Yeah. So I'm going in with an open mind, and I'll see where the show goes.
Cool. I'm gonna hop into. I was gonna do it anyway, but you've actually got me excited about it now.
There's a big Star Wars question that people have always asked, and I think they're going to answer.
Does Leia have force powers?
She has force powers. No, it's about a different thing, and it's like a long running thing that like it's a 40-year-old question.
And can you say it?
No.
Okay. Guys, I also checked out a live action adaptation of a classic beloved series. I checked out Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They fucking ruined Watchmen.
John.
Put politics in Watchmen.
John.
Can't fucking believe it. Watchmen, the most apolitical comic of all time, and they're after ruining it with their fucking agendas, and I'm just so mad I could toot.
John, I'm not liking this bit.
Toot toot.
So I've watched 3 episodes of Watchmen, and fuck, I really like that TV show.
Yeah?
A whole bunch.
Did you like the 3rd episode?
The
with
third,
Laurie?
okay, so episodes 1 and 2, pretty good. Like they're cool. Episode 3 is when I started going, oh fuck, this is really something.
Okay, I haven't seen 3 yet.
Okay.
Yeah, the bit with the briefcase.
The bit with the briefcase.
She opens up the briefcase.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so here's how shocking that bit was. I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, but maybe it's like a flask or something. And I came to the conclusion in my mind, I have to ask Bryan if what I think I saw is what I saw. And I'm guessing by your reaction, it was.
I'd rather not say.
Yeah.
I kind of want to
I'd
let the
rather
show...
let people find out for themselves.
I think the show needs to air all its episodes before we do a full dissection of specific scenes in it.
But I guess the angle of this I really loved. I'm going to go into a little bit like the plot of the 3rd episode, but it features basically Silk Spectre from Watchmen, and she wasn't really that interesting a character in the old one. She was kind of like
she's a prop.
She was a romantic object for like you know, various characters in it. But this is like, how many years later, Bryan?
So it's 2019, and the events of Watchmen took place in the late 80s. So 33, 34 years later.
Yeah.
But not 35.
She is now a hardened, like, FBI agent.
Yep.
And she fucking hates superheroes.
Okay.
And it's played by this actor who is so fantastic. Because the way the first scene of the third episode rolls out, you nearly think she's maybe going to be a temporary character. You know what I mean, Brian?
No, she's definitely sticking around.
But, like, she's so good in that 2-minute segment. I'm like, why did they hire such a fucking good actor for just, like, nothing? And then it's like, oh no, she's sticking around.
I really like that she has her own music as well. Like Trent and Atticus knocked out
Oh.
of the park.
It's such a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
I knew immediately it was
Same.
those guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's great. And I feel like I've kind of been like, I've really been looking for that kind of killer television program. Like, there's no TV program that's really like setting me alight right now. After that third episode, I think like this totally has the potential to be it. It's very grim. It's very rough. There's a lot of shit about like racial pressure, about like the role of police in society. It gets violent and grim, and like it is a tough watch in places. But it also has this really like just completely ridiculous side that this is still a world where a giant squid appeared in the middle of New York City and there was a blue god man who could do anything, and it's great. I'm having such a good time with it.
Are you enjoying Jeremy Irons in the show?
So much.
just a man living his life.
Yeah. I was disappointed to see the kind of reaction to it online. Have you seen any of that at all?
Yeah.
No.
It's just a lot of people very angry over the kind of direction that like they've taken it, and like specifically with the role of like white supremacists being the bad guy. And some people are just angry that white supremacists are the bad guy because, you know, white supremacists, they have like feelings and opinions too, which is fucking insane. And it's just one of those things that makes me like, what are we doing?
No,
you know?
take the piss out of him, drag him through the mud.
Yeah,
Fuck him.
fuck him, whatever, Jesus. But then there's other people who are annoyed because they're like saying, well, Rorschach wasn't actually a white supremacist. And like,
He was the most hateful fucking dude.
he wasn't a white supremacist, but he was like a bigoted conservative asshole. And I love Rorschach. He's like my favorite character from that fucking thing. He's an awful human. He's absolutely terrible.
But he's so totally someone that someone would take out of context.
Which is what
Why it's great.
these characters have done. These stupid white supremacist motherfuckers in the show have like misinterpreted Rorschach, and
Yeah,
like,
because his journals got published
Yeah.
and it's in this like shitty little
and, like,
paperback.
I think the correct interpretation of Rorschach still leaves him as like a pretty shitty person, but like they've taken it to this ridiculous racist extreme, and now they're the kind of bad guys. And so like, I don't think the show is necessarily calling him like a white supremacist, but it is showing you how like, if you're like kind of fucked up, your shit gets taken out of context and you attract an audience that maybe you don't need to.
But like tin hat conspiracy theorists are they have an audience.
There's like, and so like I've seen a lot about this online, and like in a way it's so disappointing because like, you know, I fucking love television. I really love television, and like the camera shots in this, there's so many great performances, the music is fantastic. This is a beautifully made TV show, and it sucks to me that like people are upset. They're like, oh, Watchmen's woke or whatever the fuck, you know. Like, this is a great TV show.
Get broke.
Go woke, get broke. And it's also like, my god, like, have you read the Watchmen comic? Like,
Yeah. I really like how they take the piss out of the Zack Snyder movie with the Hooded Justice episode of American Hero Story.
I loved that.
And it's just like an oversaturated slow motion like bone crunching sound effect like breakdown of like a bit that's in the Hollis Mason biopic, or, you know, like his book that he wrote, where he talks about Hooded Justice like starting off as a superhero and he just saves like a hold up in a supermarket,
And it's just, yeah.
and it's done in the Zack Snyder style, and it's like it's them acknowledging like
Yeah.
where Watchmen's been.
Because it's kind of cool, because that nearly paints like the Zack Snyder movie as like a movie that happened in universe, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. And I really like the new characters. I like Glass.
Looking Glass, amazing.
Don't you have any emotions, Glass? Then why am I crying under this mask?
There's a really good bit, I think it's in episode 3, where Looking Glass is like wiping the sweat off him, but he's wiping the sweat off. He's still wearing the mask and he's dabbing his forehead because the mask is so important to him,
And
that it's just an extension of his face.
the woman who used to be Silk Spectre, her ability to like disarm like the masked cops or the superheroes is like amazing. Like she's so cutting and severe with everything she says, and just like give me lots of her for the rest of the season.
I really like her and PD, the assistant FBI guy,
Because they have a good back and forth.
and like she'll kind of diss him, but like maybe 1 in 5 times he'll diss back,
Yeah, and he'll get her.
and she'll be like,
Because I thought
All
their
right.
dynamic was going to be like she knows everything, he's like the kind of bumbling idiot. But no, he actually does kind of push back on her a bit, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then they fuck immediately. It's a great show. I'd really encourage people to check it out. Like, like the first episode, I was like, all right. The second, and I was kind of like, I guess I'll check out the second episode, and I was a bit more into that. But it was really the third episode where it kind of took off for me in a big way, and I'm very, very excited to watch more. So really high on Watchmen. You guys talked about it before. How are you feeling about it now?
still good. Episode 4 is amazing.
I've only watched episode 2, so I'm like have to catch up with you guys, but I'm still on board. I think it's great.
Yeah, I totally get what you meant by like you watch that first episode and you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm really like looking forward to just like think pieces and people talking about this as it's done. I think it's going to create a lot of good writing for and against it, and
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about the people who are just using it as fodder for their outrage,
For the people who are like,
who will write good things positively and negatively about it. It seems like something that will be examined, and I think that's really exciting for a TV show to bring that.
Yeah, for sure. And like, to me, each episode has its own self-contained story, and the way it's set out is that it's one season. If it gets a season 2, that's great, but the whole season is going to have a beginning, middle, and end. But I feel each episode is kind of, they're all separate to each other. It's not like you need to watch a couple episodes in a row to get like a bigger
yeah, you're kind of
picture.
right. Like the third episode could have been like the first episode of the series.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really looking forward to more of it. Niamh. Oh no, wait. Uh-oh.
I'm done.
Okay, guys, I watched Hazbin Hotel.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys heard of this?
No.
I know what this is. Yeah.
So I know only a little bit about like its background, but basically this is an 30-minute animated pilot
I know what this is.
Yeah.
from a very popular DeviantArt Twitter. Who the fuck is she?
She was big on DeviantArt back in the day.
I
and
thought so. Yeah.
She's still going, and this is like a passion project that's been like the better part of a decade in the making.
Yeah. And it's like I saw some people on like our Discord and stuff recommending it, and I also saw a lot of videos about it on YouTube. I didn't watch any of them, but I was like, why does this keep coming up?
Yeah.
And so I decided to check it out. What do you guys know about this?
I scrubbed through it. I couldn't watch all of it, but
I tried to watch some of it and I thought it was visually unappealing.
So this movie, this pilot is like if you got 2007 era MySpace to make a pilot. That's not a criticism. That's not praise. That's
Just a fact.
Just what this is. This is a movie made by people who love like Squee or Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, where like everything's very kind of dark and vulgar and violent, but then it has this like hyper cutesy undertone where like characters are talking about like rainbows and unicorns and all this kind of stuff as well. Like this felt like such a kind of blast from the past.
so it feels like walking into a mid 2000s Hot Topic.
100.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the kind of thing it is. 3 out of the 4 main characters are wearing bow ties.
I literally was thinking, I bet you they've had arguments about what characters got to wear the top hats. Because it's that long, slinky
Yep.
design of every character.
So like I didn't watch it properly, but I found it difficult to tell the characters apart because they all have very similar silhouettes.
Yeah.
And
They all
they're-
have that long, very kind of skinny.
Yeah, they're all
tails.
Yeah, they're all
And, like, there's a
they're all
few-
shaped like Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
There's a few monsters that look differently, but like any character that matters is generally like that shape. I didn't hate how it looked. Like I like the color design, and there was some like incidental characters I really liked the designs of, But if someone, it is also the kind of thing, like, if this is not someone's visual cup of tea, it is all that. There's a few like interesting mixed media pieces in it that I thought, like, there was a really nice one towards the end kind of explaining a certain character, like who he was, and that was kind of cool. Like, I was like intrigued because like it's different to anything else, but like in terms of like stuff that is my cup of tea or not my cup of tea, like this is not a show for me, like, at all. There's cool things about it, like main characters lesbians, that's kind of fun, they're kind of cute, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling.
I'm just really curious, like, it's over 30 minutes long,
Yeah.
and it's a pilot. Usually when you have a proof of concept with animation, a pilot is 11 minutes max. Now in animation, and like, I don't think this is made by people in the industry. I think it's made by like...
I think this could have been funded by outside people as
Could
well,
have been,
like
yeah.
crowdfunded.
And it kind of has the thing where some shots like are absolutely like very well animated, like
Okay.
great acting, really expressive, and then the next couple of shots will be like quite rough and like characters kind of going off model and stuff like that.
I saw one or two shots where the character wasn't locked down to the background, so when the camera move happened, they slid.
Yeah.
We've
got Comper's eyes, so we will always notice that.
I unfortunately QC check every frame. It's burned into me.
You gotta, yeah.
My concern is that you can't actually make a 22 minute animated TV show anymore. There's a new kind of regulation put in where, like, with broadcast standards, with animation, it has to be 11 minutes long, or you do 2 11-minute shows. And so there are shows that are 22 minutes long, but that's because they're pre 2018. But I think in the last 2 years they brought in a new thing with animation broadcasts.
Is it like a genuine regulation, or is it just a style thing?
A bit of both. It just seems to be.
Well, like, is it a law, or isn't it?
It seems to stem from the Animation Guild in Hollywood.
Right.
Where new shows can't be 22 minutes long.
Well, like, if they wanted to break this into like an 11-minute show or 22-minute show, they could. Like, there's nothing very complicated in the story.
Because to me, the pilot looked like it was 3 11-minute shows.
No, it's pretty succinct. Like, it all kind of flows as the one storyline. It's basically like they all exist. It's like the main character is the Princess of Hell, and her and her girlfriend want to start off at this halfway hotel, which basically like rehabs demons to be good again. It's really on the nose and kind of pretty corny in that way, and it's a weird one. I guess I'm kind of interested in its existence, but I not really, like, it doesn't appeal. Nothing about it really appeals.
Yeah,
I feel
definitely
like
cool that it
I'm
exists.
way not, like, I am not the age that this would appeal to
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, for
and
sure.
just aesthetically, I'm visually not interested in it. But just as someone making a 30-minute pilot, and kind of crowdfunding and
Yeah.
like an independent piece of animation that people are hype about, that's like really, really cool.
It has like 10 million views.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Wow.
wonder if the goal of it was to get it picked up. Like,
Yeah,
They
'cause
released an update video kind of being like, oh, this is really cool, and people are asking like, when's episode 2 out, and the answer to that is like, we kind of just have to wait to see what happens.
yeah. They're probably looking for funding to some degree.
Yeah,
it'd be cool if
this
Netflix or
clearly
Adult
has
Swim
an
picked it
audience
up.
because like it had 10 million views, and the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. So I guess I'm more curious to just kind of like see how it does from afar and see, like, you know, what this goes on to be, as opposed to like a piece of entertainment I'm really going to enjoy. There's parts of it I thought looked cool, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. I saw like there's a bunch of drama about the girl who made it as well. I looked into it a little bit, and it mostly seems to amount to like she drew some stupid shit like a couple of years ago. Who gives a fuck?
That's everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know the creator of Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar, she was into the Ed, and Eddie fandom.
Cancelled.
Yeah.
Okay, we're starting here, everybody. Hashtag no sugar in my tea.
I only like milk on my tea anyway, so
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
Cartoons are really really hard to make.
Yeah.
And so when it's a huge achievement to make one, and when it comes out and it's not someone's cup of tea, just keeping it on the
Well,
tea
like
thing.
that's the thing. I have to kind of respect like what it is. Like
Yeah,
they
like,
made
fair
a
fucks to them.
30-minute fucking show that does not look like total dog shit. You know, That's very difficult. Like, they made it to a standard, and there's obviously a lot of passion behind it. And I guess that's what's really keeping me from being super negative about it. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like teenagers might love it or something. I just feel like it's just so not something I would ever care about.
Yeah.
So it's
same.
it's difficult to talk about it when you're just like, I know that's not for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
But also, like, I feel like in a way it's nearly like there's only so much you can criticize it then without being like, it should be for me.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm just like, there is nothing that these guys could like improve about this show that would make it more for me.
If you like DeviantArt, period, the height of DeviantArt, if you were involved in it, then you've probably already seen this. And if you're into independent animation and want to look like what it would look like if you and a bunch of friends or a bunch of people across the internet really joined forces and tried to create something independently, this could be it. Like, you know, warts and all, like, it's beautiful shots and it's worse shots. Like, it's probably a proof of concept that this is doable, and that's probably the coolest thing about it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, like, fair play to them. Guys, let's say we move into some strategy talk. So, when are we going to talk about it? Do you want to just get straight into it?
Yeah, it's the most anticipated hot topic has come up again now. Game this year.
Okay, you good to just let's dive in, Niamh?
Yeah, let's
fucking do it. Luigi's Mansion 3 came out this week, and both me and Bryan have been playing it.
I love this game.
Really?
Tell us about Luigi's Mansion 3, Bryan.
This is the third Luigi's Mansion game. It is made by Next Level Games.
I'm just shocked.
It's made by Next Level Games, who are a Vancouver-based studio subcontracted to make well, I guess not subcontract, but
Bryan, was there a Luigi's Mansion arcade game?
Oh yeah.
So this is the fourth Luigi's Mansion.
The Luigi's Mansion arcade game just uses the Dark Moon assets, and it's not canon.
Oh.
I love that.
As
Like Miyamoto was just like, this isn't up to the high standard of the lore.
Mm-hmm.
I actually played the Luigi's Mansion arcade game like 3 weeks ago in Santa Monica. I love that arcade game so much.
Is it good?
I played it like 5 times. It's in every like arcade. It's in Dave and Buster's. Luigi's Mansion 3 takes place in a hotel, and it does the same kind of setup where it's like you're looking into like a dollhouse.
Luigi's Mansion is set in a hotel.
Mansion could be a hotel.
Yeah.
A hotel isn't a type of building, it's a business that happens in a building.
In the second
You know what,
Luigi's
you're right. I'm sorry.
in the second Luigi's Mansion, it's level based, and one of the levels is a mansion, and the other one is like a warehouse.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So like it should be called Luigi's Building, but it's Luigi's Mansion.
Warehouses and sewers are just these things that just baffle me in video games. Like the idea that a group of designers sit around and go, and we'll put a fucking sewer level in. Like it. Why? And
I hate sewer levels.
like you could put your game literally in any location that you can visualize, not even exists, but that just anything, and you're like, well, we'll have a bunch of shit and water and rats. Like,
okay, this game is approximately 99% internal in its location. There's a bit where you're on the roof, and there's an opening cutscene where you're outside of the hotel. But for the majority of the game, you are within the walls, except for 1 or 2 bits where you have to walk along outside the window. But you are inside a very well-designed interior of a game, and I think it's a love hotel because all the floors are themed.
Okay.
It's like there's a pyramid floor, and they got like a desert and everything with a pyramid. There's a pirate floor.
I've stayed in a themed hotel that wasn't a love hotel.
You sure now?
Niamh.
Well, love happens, but
Yeah.
but it wasn't advertised that way.
Yeah, this is just a very eccentric hotel, and it's weird because like some of the floors are like way wider than the others, but when you see the exterior of the hotel, it's like a Jenga block where like some of them are just like fatter than others.
Oh.
As you kind of like go up each floor.
I ever talk about that super horny hotel room I stayed in?
Oh, I've seen the photos. Yes.
Yeah.
And you haven't mentioned it on the podcast.
Okay, yeah, this is the Crunchyroll Awards. They put me up in this hotel, and I went in the front door, and it was literally like a nightclub, and I was like, oh, fucking kill me, because I'm just like in LA by myself for like 3 days. Then I go up to the hotel room and like it's actually really nice. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. But the Apple like TV immediately turns on when you enter the room, and I was looking through its options, and there was like free porn, which I didn't watch, and there was also a camera, and you could go through the camera and see pictures of everyone who had stayed there.
Oh no!
What is like were they like?
No, they were like
raunchy?
posing, and
Okay.
they knew nothing too raunchy, I don't think.
But like, so the camera was there for you to actively, you know, take a picture of yourself.
It
And
was pointed at the bed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so weird and
So,
fucky.
so John, the bed you slept in, people have slammed so fucking hard in that bed.
Of course, it's a hotel. People have probably killed themselves in that bed.
Oh my god.
I get dark when I think about hotels.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that's such a terrible. The sex hotel is the one you do it in.
Yeah.
You
just go
everything-
wild.
Everything in this room was so horny because it had like little like personalized like messages on everything, and so like the shampoo and soap would say like lather me up baby, and it was all like sexual innuendo, and I was like, wow, I really feel like this hotel room wants to fuck me. And I didn't like it because how would that even work?
Well, you've seen The Shining. It can embody a spirit.
Did you check in and were they like, are you here for pleasure or
No,
pleasure?
I just checked in.
Oh, I hope they say that. That'd be so good.
Did they have like, you know, body chocolate and you just put it
They
on
did
your...
have body chocolate.
did
They
you put it
legit
on-
did. It was part of the service.
Did you
Really?
put it
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your arm and eat it?
No, I didn't. I don't.
Just body chocolate's just sticky and disgusting.
I think. Okay, look. I think in a lesser moment, I might have actually ate the chocolate. I was in LA by myself. I was lonely. I missed my friends.
You just squirted it right into your mouth.
I had to go to a Crunchyroll award, and a homeless lady screamed at me. Ever tell you about that? No. I was walking down the street and like I left the Crunchyroll award.
Yeah, because it was on Hollywood Boulevard, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. I left the and man, even getting out of the Crunchyroll Awards was such a nightmare because they put you in this green room with all the other like influencers, and if you step outside the green room, like some little girl with a clipboard comes up to you and she's like Super Eye Patch Wolf, it's so great to have you here. Can I ask where you're going?
Get back in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had to sneak out of there, and I was going to get a drink in like one of the local 7-Elevens or whatever. And on my way back, like I was in a suit and everything, and I walked by this woman and she was like, "Hey, handsome, how's it going?" And I didn't say anything. I walked by her, and the second I walked by her, she goes, "Motherfucker, I'm talking to you."
She was trying to hustle you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she was trying, but yeah, I really felt like that hotel room was like flirting with me, and I didn't know how to take that.
I think that's so funny that that's the hotel they picked to put the guests in.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird power move.
For people who are into anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a nice hotel room.
It's ironic because those people never get sex.
It
No.
had like
No.
yeah, no. It had like condoms, but they were on a pressure sensitive plate. And
So
so
they charge you?
it would charge you the second you picked up the condoms. So if you want a bone, you're gonna pay for it.
Condoms should be free.
They
Yeah,
should.
they really should.
Mm-hmm.
Things that go on or in you down there should be free. That's how it is.
Practice safe sex, kids.
Yeah. Just
I feel like we're getting into anecdotes
No,
that
no.
I really don't want to tell on this
okay.
podcast.
Speaking of safe sex, Luigi's Mansion. Talk about a guy that fucks gently.
You want to talk about a guy who fucks like a newborn deer?
Talk about like a cautiously sexual man. We have Luigi Mario.
Oh, Luigi Mario.
One time he saw a porn mag and he was like, "Uh-oh," and closed it. This game plays real nice. I played it in 3 sittings and I beat it. Over a weekend. I went in deep. I had a blast playing this, and absolutely one of my favorite games this year. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's gonna be in my top 6. Is that what we do? Number 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can't have a top 5.
That's because if you put them all together, you get 666. What?
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I never realized that.
Yeah,
before.
that's pretty badass.
Yeah. This game is just you go into a room and you just fucking toss the bitch.
So satisfying.
You just trash it.
You want to suck like an entire dressing gown into a Hoover.
Yeah.
Because you can do that.
And in the previous, like, in the original game, you go into, like, for example, the kitchen, and you would hoover the table with all the cutlery laid out inside, and it would just rattle. But with this, everything is individually modeled and placed in the room. You just fucking trash the place.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. It's fucking beautiful as well.
Yeah, it's one of the nicest
holy
looking
shit,
games.
it looks so good. Like
It's-
the art direction.
Yeah, it's
and, like, just
polished to the nth
the
degree.
physics of everything like rattling and rolling around is it's cool.
Yeah, the game is incredibly linear, although I'm looking forward to the speed running where they sequence break it.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So there are certain sections where you're like, oh, this bit drags, but then like maybe the following bit doesn't. But like each floor is approximately 1 hour to complete, and it is 15 floors. You could beat it in 12 if you just like don't mess up the rooms. But like I would go into each room and I would just destroy it. There was one room in which they gave you a chainsaw attachment to put onto to put onto the vacuum cleaner, and I just shredded that bed. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm about 3 or 4 hours into it. I wouldn't say I'm like massively taken with it. I think it's very charming. I have some trouble with the controls. I think it does control kind of awkwardly.
The default controls are terrible.
Yeah, they're not great.
You
Can
can
you
go in.
change them
Oh
up?
yeah, you can. So I've gone in and I've changed the twin stick setup so that the one that like changes Luigi's direction can only change it horizontally, and if I change it vertically, I need to use the actual like 3D motion in
I
the
think I'm gonna
Joy-Con
switch to that.
to tilt it up and down.
Yeah.
So I play it like Splatoon.
Because the default controls, the controls are relative to the direction Luigi is facing.
Ooh, don't like that.
Yeah, and like it's not top down at all. So you could press left and he'll turn right,
Okay.
but he could also, depending on his position, turn left.
Also,
So that's like tank controls? Kinda?
yeah, it is
Yes.
kind of like.
Okay.
But they've also set it up in a way that it's got the 4 face buttons, you know, your A, B, X, and Y. Mm-hmm. But you've got 4 shoulder buttons as well, and they do the same actions as the face buttons. So I don't touch the face buttons at all.
I don't know why you would touch the face buttons.
Yeah.
Like, that's because you can't hit the right stick and your face buttons.
No, you can't.
So I think they just should have disabled them.
Yeah, they should have. But there is customization options
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah,
to
like
play it
there's
better.
workarounds to all the control issues. But yeah, I'm looking forward to spend some more time with it. It's very charming and it is absolutely beautiful.
There are
What-
some like frustrating floors, but then the standout floors are really, really good set pieces.
So, like, you've told me that you'd like to go in and trash rooms. Like, what is the goal? He's a ghostbuster. He's going in to suck out the ghosts of every room.
But the game rewards you with like coins,
Okay.
and with that you can upgrade your vacuum cleaner, but I don't know what it does. It makes finding the collectibles easier.
Okay.
And I think it does reward you at the end, kind of like what the Wario games do, where it's like it's also a treasure hunting game.
Yeah, that's I think one of the things I'm getting stuck on a little bit. It's like I'm not really sure what's really motivating me to kind of do this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
For me, it's just I'm a neat freak and I like a tidy room, and it's so fun to just do the opposite and just Keenan and Kel a room, like just fucking toss it. There's something so satisfying. Like, you know how you play Muso games and it's like you get to like push everyone out of your way.
I did hear a thing once that like the vast majority of games are essentially exercises in tidying up, and that
Yeah.
that kind of upset me in a way.
And the whole thing with Luigi's Mansion is you are just making crime scenes in every room. It's very funny.
Yeah. No, it's,
Do you meet people or other characters? Is Luigi mostly alone?
He's mostly alone. It's very cool. So he has Professor Egad, who's been in the previous games, who built the Poltergust 3000. I think this is Poltergust X2 at this point. But he talks to you via a Virtual Boy. And you actually have like slots for the Virtual Boy, and they are shaped like the Virtual Boy cartridges. And I love that detail that Nintendo are still acknowledging that failure of a console.
I think
which
they
I
actually
own.
made fun of it, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, like in Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. And there's toads you find, and like it's Luigi, Mario, Princess Peach are all staying at the hotel, so they're all trapped in paintings, which has happened previously before. And like it's definitely Luigi's story. Like story. It's got Mario in it towards the end, and they've got some good antics with the two brothers. And you've got King Boo in it. King Boo is always there.
New best character, Gooigi.
Gooigi's amazing. I really, really like the idea that you switch between Luigi and Gooigi has like shit HP, but he can like go between sewer gratings, and he's like immune to certain like hazards in the hotel in certain floors. Like he can walk through spikes and stuff. And so you can do 2-player co-op if you want, or you can solve the puzzles by just taking turns with both characters. But there are some clever puzzles in the game.
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to playing more.
I
How high do you think it's ranking on your like Game of the Year
Yeah,
stuff?
do I need to play this?
can lend you my copy.
Okay.
I think this is a very well polished game, and I'm very impressed with it, and it's one of my favorite games this year.
I'd say
Okay.
4 out of 5 chance Steve will kind of be like, yeah,
Yeah.
polished
I-
Nintendo game, and
I-
then 1 out of 5 that you'd actually be like, oh, this is really cool.
I think as someone who likes very well modeled interiors and sets.
Oh yeah, because everything's like basically like a little dollhouse.
Yeah,
I do
like
appreciate
it
that.
really is a dollhouse. It's like going through like Sylvanian families or something.
Oh, you've said the right words, Sylvanian families.
Yeah, it totally has that
Yeah.
feel.
And I just love that like each floor is completely different to the other floor, and like it's got a basement, but the basement like gimmick is so fun. I was so down for it, and like you're just like you're playing that floor like completely different to every other floor, and all the floors are done out of order because all the buttons on the elevator are missing. So you just kind of do the floors in random order, where like you start on like maybe the first or second floor, but all of a sudden you're going up to the 8th, and then you're going back down.
And
So you're
each
just-
floor is kind of like its own mini dungeon.
yeah.
Cool.
I really, really like this game.
It's cool. So I guess it's time to talk about Death Stranding. The Hideo Kojima masterpiece. The last game you'll ever need. I think about this game a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm quite fond of it.
I'm not sure I am. I go back and forth a lot.
Oh, I'm not playing this anymore. I'm quite fond of it. How many hours have you guys played?
36, and I'm towards the end of chapter 3.
Chapter 3 is incredibly long.
Yeah.
It's insanely long.
Because I feel like I've been on chapter 2 for a couple of hours now, and it just keeps being like, bad news, Sam. We need you to go back to where you came from, but even further this time. And I'm like, okay. And it's like been ping-ponging me across the map, and I just got my motorcycle. I think conceptually, there's so much about this game I think is really cool, and I respect it. And like, I do even enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, there was one part where like it was early on in the game. I didn't know how easy the mules were to take down. The mules are like enemy postmen.
Yeah, just bandits.
You're Norman Reedus. You're traveling across the post-apocalyptic. I'm sure people know this game.
Yeah, like let's skip the first 5 minutes of Death Stranding talk, and like
Yep.
let's say we're like people
So-
are playing along with us.
The mules were chasing me. I didn't know how easy they were to take down, and I was like, oh shit. And they were like kind of chasing me across this kind of perilous cliff face, and I didn't know what to do. And then like the idea hit me, I should just abseil away from them. And so like I planted my hook and I abseiled down the hill and got away from them. That's maybe one of the most satisfying moments I've had in games all year. Like, this traversal mechanic I really loved. If I'm honest, I know my gaming habits, and I know like this isn't a conscious decision, this is just knowing the way I play games. I think as soon as something new comes along that will take my attention more than this, I'm probably going to drop this game. And
Okay.
that's not that I dislike it. It's just, I think sometimes the game just gives me too little and asks too much.
Where I am in the game, I've played 27 hours, and I'm at the beginning of chapter 5.
So you've like pushed forward throughout a
Yeah.
lot of this.
I did some of the optional stuff, but I really wanted to see, what the core like main missions are like.
Mm-hmm.
And so the area you're brought into in chapter 3 is also where chapter 5 begins. Like, that is a big chunk of the game, and it's quite a large area. you are playing as Norman Reedus, who's called Sam Porter Bridges. You're going across America. America is approximately the size of Phoenix Park.
Yeah.
It's not a big America. You walk from what is New York to Chicago in 40 minutes.
Which I'm cool with. Like,
Yeah.
I get it.
I really, really wanted to like go in deep with this game last weekend. Like, I just shut myself out, and I really,
Same.
I just wanted to see.
I felt like when we talked, you weren't feeling it.
No. I got to the beginning of chapter 5, and it's kind of setting up what I have to do next. Not interested in it at all. But there's things I like about this game, but like I am not this game's audience. It is, I think if you're into survival crafting and Euro simulators, like that's Euro Truck Simulator, Euro Bridge Simulator, I just, and I really, I'm glad this game exists, but I'm not its audience. But as I said, I'm fond of it.
Niamh, where are you with this game?
Okay. So I think the first question you gotta ask is, Hideo Kojima says this is a new type of game. This is a Strand game. So I'm gonna ask both of you, what does that mean? What does a Strand game mean from what you've seen? Because to me, a Strand game is a terrain management sim.
Yeah.
So you were given a terrain that looks closer to Iceland, maybe Ireland, a lot of the Burren.
It's got the Giant's Causeway in there as well.
Yeah, there is a Giant's Causeway bit.
Yeah.
So it's very like maybe mountain-esque like Iceland, but like lowlands like Ireland.
Yeah.
Which I quite like to see that visualized in a video game. We don't get that visualized. There's
It's
a lot
very-
of rain. It feels familiar.
Yeah, it feels a bit like Scotland as well with the hills. It is Northern European, but a bit of continental as well.
And from my understanding of what a Strand game is, it's fetch quests, but not just moving things from A to B. It's moving things as the gameplay. You have a scanner, you press R1 and it will give you little blops. So like you got your blue, yellow and red, and it's basically the difficulty of the terrain for you to kind of progress over. You can use your shoulder buttons to brace yourself and to hold onto your bag. So right shoulder is your right hand going to your bag, and left shoulder is your left hand going to your bag.
Yeah,
I have a question. Mm-hmm. I feel like most of the time I'm just bracing all the time.
I brace all the time as
Yeah,
well.
same.
It's the best way to play until you get your leg support.
Yeah. That's kind of why I shotgunned it to chapter 3, because I heard that that's where you get the enhancements.
Yeah.
So there's no point doing the optional stuff
So
in
what do
chapter
the
2.
enhancements do?
So the enhancements I have, like the more missions you do for each place, and if anyone playing this, and just John as well, get to chapter 3 as fast as possible, because chapter 3 is where you start getting stuff that makes the game easier. You get like your boots are now boots level 2, and you get like an endoskeleton basically that makes you fall over less. And more
it doubles
people,
your lifting weight.
Yeah, it doubles your lifting, and more people are creating things around you. So there's now roads, for you to travel on.
Right.
Yeah. Now the roads aren't like, you can't just create a road anywhere. It's like it's a unit you fund that builds a road from one end of the giant map to the other, and there's a couple missions where you have to like fund the road, and so you can get it started, but like completing that entire road probably takes a lot of time. Like it'd be like a cookie clicker kind of time.
Right.
I'm sure someone's done it, but it takes a special kind of person to do that.
Right.
You'd need a certain kind of discipline that I don't know if we have.
So your biggest enemy is rocks and rivers. It's
Yeah.
the current of a river taking you downstream and knocking everything you have on your back off.
There is
you.
a very specific kind of despair watching your packets float downstream.
Yeah, you're just like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like you're like, it kind of makes you want to rage quit sometimes. Like I'm just like, well, there it fucking all goes.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
It's definitely worth playing online as well, because I find that I'll go to a warehouse, or I guess like a warehouse city that I've been going to and fro, but if I check the online cache, people have left stuff in there, and so I'll deliver it and I'll get points, because it's very hard to do it offline and build up your ranking that
I'd
way.
say so.
So to me, the Strand game is terrain management with asynchronous multiplayer. So this is stuff that you can leave down in the world. You get ladders, you get climbing ropes, and other players will use it and like it. And other players will leave stuff for you, like Bryan said, in a locker that you can help redeliver these things and kind of get partial likes for that, or plus likes if you go the full journey.
Yeah.
And that to me is the powerful and interesting part of this game, is kind of the connective, collaborative effort to build a network to make deliveries easier. And it's just like, well, the deliveries were made difficult to facilitate this, and they were made not fun to facilitate this. But what is cool is when you log into the game and, 100 people liked this ladder. Or I've been putting down a lot of recharge stations for my mechanical legs.
When you see a recharge station and you're on the bike and it's like, wow.
I really got super into the roads, and I built a bunch of roads, and they got loads of likes. And when I came back the next day, someone had continued one of my roads, and we had collaborated on that, and that got even more. Like, it is very satisfying.
So there was a part where, like, basically there was a huge river, and there was a ladder going from the bank I was on to a rock in the center of the river, and then I went out into the rock and put down a ladder from that rock to the other end of the river, and even that felt like cool. Like, I was like, me and this complete stranger just came up with a way to cross this river, and that felt kind of amazing. That did feel really good.
And I guess you're in post-apocalyptic America. You are delivering food and medicine, because that is like actual organic made material, but the ladders and stuff are 3D printed on the spot, and they're a resource. So that's kind of like the push and pull of it, I guess.
And they degrade after time. I think it's maybe 2 weeks real time that like the stuff you put down will start to disappear.
That's fair.
Because like you don't want people to start into the world and the world is already completed, because that's kind of the gameplay gone. And
then you have to hook up to the chiral network to see them.
So like just kind of give a little tiny bit of overview of what your motivation is. You are Sam, and your job as a porter is to reconnect America, and you were given a chiral necklace. It is basically a USB keys
with
on
the history of
necklaces
America.
With the history of America, and you have to go around to different locations on the map and hook them up to the system. So your first journey to a location, there will be very little put down for you to use and progress with. But once you get everything online, it basically works like a Ubisoft Assassin's Creed tower. Once you get that tower online, it like reveals all the other user generated stuff on the map in that area.
It just pings all the materials.
I guess, like, what is the Strand game to you?
I'm gonna be really honest, I don't really care. Really, like, the thing I'm kind of focusing on with this game is like my enjoyments and how much kind of fun I have with it, and like genre especially. I just get so tired of discussions about genre. A Strand game doesn't mean a lot to me. Death Stranding is Death Stranding. You know what I mean?
There is bits later on where you get actual guns. So like,
I just more mean thematically. Like, what is he trying to communicate? Because he says this is the first ever game that's like this. It's not. It's not the first ever asynchronous. It's not the first ever collaborative. It's not the first ever fetch quest. It's like, what does he mean when he says this?
I agree with everything you said. I do have to admit, though, I've never played a game that felt like this to me.
Yeah, like I don't think I've played a terrain management sim.
And I think that's the part that I actually have a lot of affection for. Like, just the process of like managing the terrain is really satisfying,
So when you're out in the world as well, there's this stuff called timefall, and it's basically the rain, and the rain will degrade your stuff.
Yeah, it just ages everything rapidly.
It will degrade your packaging, and your packaging has a like durability rating of the box and then of the object inside, and you can construct packaging spray, container spray.
I never use that stuff.
I use that stuff all the time.
With that.
I completely ignore that, and I still get S ranks.
Yeah, I get S rank in most missions.
It's pretty easy to get an S rank unless you really just fuck it up.
Oh, I've done that too.
I find, and this is a thing that you get in Mario Maker as well, is that the developer designs, A to B, and you have to go across A to B, and they expect you to do it the way they designed it. But really, you are fucking yourself across A to B in the most ungraceful way possible, and you still get an S rank because you cheese it. And that's how I'm playing Death Stranding. I'm just like catapulting. I'm just wily coyoting my way to.
Brian's very good at cheesing games.
Yeah,
I think he gets a kind of pleasure out of it.
I do, and I'm not breaking the game. I'm just using the resources the game has given me. I'm not using them the way the developer expected, but I get rewarded for it. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it's earned.
I'm very I'm playing this game as a good Samaritan. I will pack up all my stuff, and what I like about this game a lot is your inventory is visualized in every single way. Any single thing you want to bring, whether it's a pair of boots or a container spray or a grenade, it's going to be in a box and it's going on your back, and it's going to make it difficult for you to move. And you are just more box than man, and it is
more box. Yeah, completely.
And it is extremely hard to move. So you're okay, I need to make this long journey. I might run into BTs. We haven't mentioned those, but we will after this.
Yeah.
And I I unlocked level 3 leg braces. So I made 15 of them, and then I went around to all the different post box I could find, and I dropped them off for other players to have
Sweet.
level 3 leg braces. So that's kind of the way I've been playing, is a very I go around and I leave materials for people, and I charge up things with materials, and I'm trying to level up stuff. And I like that aspect of it. I really like the communal aspect. How
high is your rank? Because I'd say it's a bit like Destiny for you, where you like seeing the numbers go up.
Yes.
Yeah.
My rank is pretty high. I think I'm 205 was the last time I checked.
So I played very selfishly, and I got to 160, which is still pretty high.
Yeah, you can cheese those numbers. You can just deliver things halfway and get all the likes if you want. But I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna make people's lives easier.
That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're not playing it like a bollocks.
Think that's kind of a really interesting, fun way to play it as well.
I like making those bridge connections. My bridge link connection is really, really big, and that's where you link to another player. I will say a thing, this is all about connection to a certain degree. I haven't seen any of the people on my friends list stuff.
No.
I haven't seen John's, I haven't seen Bryan, I haven't seen I think there's 20 people on my friends list playing this, and I haven't seen any of their stuff. It's all randos, and I don't know if that's by design, that you're kind of forced to kind of...
It shuffles people out of your region or something?
Yeah.
They'll just pull 5 people from Europe, 5 people from Asia,
yeah,
5 people from the Americas. I don't know.
It doesn't seem to be pulling from your friends list or by closeness or locale. It seems to just be random. And that was a little disappointing, because I was hoping I'd see something from you guys there in that world, or that you guys would see something I made, but you didn't. And that was a little oh, okay. Yeah. But I guess it's more global, which again connects to the themes.
I really like seeing all the avatars in the usernames. That's fun.
It's weird, with the themes of the game, right? Because I'd say, I like to see story reflected in gameplay. That's a huge thing for me, and I get really excited whenever it happens. And I feel with the game that these guys have crafted, yeah, totally. The story, the themes are absolutely reflected in the gameplay mechanics. The example of the roads, or the bridge stuff kind of you mentioned, or me and the ladder. It's working together to connect different areas, and that's really cool. But Jesus Christ, the writing and story.
So everything I've mentioned up to this point, I love it. I honestly very much enjoy it.
It's cool. It's really cool.
I think the story is the biggest load of horseshit I've ever experienced in any medium.
It's melodramatic shite.
It's so shallow. It is a field planted with neon flashing signs and not a seed of an idea. It is pretentious, and it is shallow.
Do you think maybe you're just not deep enough to get it?
Oh, I fucking get it, and I hate that people even suggest that, because there's nothing going on. There's nothing there.
Okay, but Niamh, let me explain it, right? His name is Sam Porter Bridges, and he's a porter that builds bridges between places, people. Sorry, Brian, I'll be done in 20 minutes, okay?
Cracking my knuckles. Have you seen the Kevin Costner movie, The Postman?
Yes.
It's that film in which Kevin Costner walks across post-apocalyptic America delivering people's post or mail.
What, are you serious?
And at the end of the movie, they reveal a giant statue of Kevin Costner with a little mailbag. And there's a bit in that movie where a family are trying to, so it's a couple who are trying to have a baby, and the man goes to Kevin Costner, "Can you please impregnate my wife?"
Oh my god.
Do you not remember that bit?
No, it's been a while.
The Postman is basically his previous film, the other apocalyptic water world without the water. It's shite. Anyway, yeah, it's this is all I can think about when I think about the story of Death Stranding.
Niamh, I completely agree with you about the story. I just feel like there's nothing there. It's like there's no subtext. There's just text. But what really upsets me is I could nearly be okay with that if there was like interesting, memorable characters. It is literally you and giant empty fields with people calling you on a phone. That is the perfect like platform to develop these characters and have them like interesting and have the player develop relationships with them and find out all these little nuanced things about them. They suck. They suck so bad.
You connect these places and you'll get a little like hologram of the person. The person is in the bunker.
Yeah, but they never physically come out.
They will never bother to come out apart from one side mission where they do come out.
Yeah.
But like they won't fucking bother their arse, and everyone wears the same clothes. They're all really drab. There's loads of emails. Every email is interchangeable. All they do is reiterate the theme and what mechanic has just happened, and it could be written by any one of them, and
I've
really
heard
twee.
so many times of like,
You're a great guy.
Rebuilding America, Sam. You're the only one who can do this. I was like, he's literally fucking walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's just real good at like carrying.
Yeah, he's just good at carrying. He's got decent upper body strength.
Like to me, the game is when your mom asks you to take in the shopping from the car and you do a lazy man's load and you carry too many shopping bags. Like that's the game.
And it's just like I've just played 2 games like Control and Prey, where there's very few NPCs, but through the power of emails and just collectibles, they're able to flesh out these characters in the way that I was invested with characters I have never met. The characters in Death Stranding, I have met them, I have got emails from them, and they could literally all interchangeable. I don't remember a single name.
The only thing that stands out is Deadman because he made video game references at one point, but it was like lame. Like it was.
They do that
good.
often.
Yeah.
They'll say "Game Over, man" a lot, kind of stuff.
Deadman is the comic relief. He's probably like the most likable character in the game, and that's a hard push.
Yeah, and it's so disappointing because this is literally like, this is the guy who directed Metal Gear Solid. Like, I fucking live for Metal Gear Solid codec calls. They're so good and they're so much fun, and they flesh out those characters so well, and they have all these dumb conversations about like movies and foods and stuff that has nothing to do with the game itself.
The humor and the personality is just really missing here.
Yeah. Like you know how in Metal Gear Solid 2 there's the bit where the president of America is surfing on a Harrier jump jet being piloted by a vampire. Like, where's that?
Yeah.
So I got
Where
like,
is Vamp?
I
Where
got,
are bees?
I got like a taste of that in the first cutscene when you have no idea what's happening in the cave with Fragile.
I like Fragile.
Like I was kind of like I was like watching that whole cutscene and like turn to Michelle and be like, this is fucking so cool. Like, because it was so dumb and just silly.
Yeah.
And that's been completely absent from the rest of the game.
There's been 1 or 2 goofy Kojima moments that have happened to me. There's a drone that you can commission.
Oh, and he walks out and he sings a little song.
Yeah, that was definitely a like classic Kojima moment.
Yeah, but it was like 3 seconds after like 13 hours of nothing.
Yeah, that's it.
And then like, you go over one of the mountains and then all you hear is like,
oh yeah. So there is no music in this game except for once an hour you get a new low roar song.
Fucking don't like them.
Low roar, is that a genre? 'Cause
Low
that's
roar is the
perfect
band
name for it.
So at this point I have 20 low roar songs
Yeah,
in my
okay.
inventory, because that's how many hours you get.
When every one of those songs come on, all I can picture is like Hideo Kojima walking to work with his like Apple iBuds in and just being like,
Putting this in my game.
this is a
Yeah.
really good song.
You know when you listen to a song you like and you're imagining an MV, like a AMV in your head
Hell
to
yeah.
the song, and you're like, yeah, that would be sweet. If I did a game, I would put my shitty music taste in this. Well, someone did it, you know,
someone did
and
it.
it's so like personal and so his thing that if you're not into that music, and it's really inoffensive, so you might just think it's fine. But I was just like, anytime it happens, I'm like, oh.
Like, to me, it's like you hear that music and you see the like terrain landscape, and it just makes you think of like it's a watch ad, like or like a perfume ad
But-
that you'd see it before you watch a movie.
Can we talk about how much of this game is an ad?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Sam's chiral necklace, you can buy that from the Kojima store. That's $340.
I wonder how many they've sold.
A lot. I've been at the Kojima booth. I bought a t-shirt from there at Gamescom because it's special edition. I know, I regret it.
You're the problem, Niamh.
I am. You get glasses from an NPC because I had done like a lot of fucking missions for him, and it says the make and the brand because they are doing a Death Stranding crossover.
Yeah.
So every single thing that Sam is given in this, you can buy. You can buy the hat. You go into the private room, which we should talk about. It is basically Norman Reedus Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
And there's Mountain Dew there. And I fucking hate the Mountain Dew.
Monster Energy.
Monster Energy.
Monster
Sorry,
Energy.
it's all green piss from America. I don't care. I don't know.
Green piss from America. Oh, and he's got his AMC motorbike show.
Yeah.
Which
That's bad.
But see,
It's so bad. It breaks the fucking fiction. And what... Okay, I'm going to rant about the Monster Energy. And this, like, I don't particularly like product placement in general, but I can live with it as long as it doesn't break the fiction of the world. There is a bit in the game where you deliver wheat seeds to a wheat farm where they grow beer from the wheat. It is a distillery. You get about 3 emails talking about how the magic rain makes the wheat, makes the magic beer, and then you can drink the beer in the safe room. There is no explanation about why in a world where everything is disconnected, there's no supply runs, there's absolutely nothing, that you have fucking Monster Energy right there, plentiful in every single room. It is so absolutely world breaking. Kojima is like begging you to take a shitty story super serious, and he can't even
It's gamer
fucking
fuel.
commit to it himself. And then you make Norman Reedus shit. Norman Reedus winks at you, you make him shit, and then it's like an advert for his fucking motorbike show comes up, and
but like instead of a fart noise, it's a motorcycle vroom.
revving, and like, okay, haha, funny, but haha, funny at the expense of literally this really pretentious
it was the
world
same-
he wants
it was
us to
the
buy
same shit in
into.
Final Fantasy 15 where it's like, look at how silly we're being about selling out, and like it's not about selling out. Like, if you can fit product placement into your thing and have it not intrusive and have it not interfere with the fiction of the world, fucking go for it. Whatever, I don't give a shit.
Which Kojima's done before.
Yeah, but like, this is not that. And like the Monster Energy pisses me off a lot because, yeah, like everything he says right. The AMC thing pisses me off more because like that to me is more world breaking. Like in my head I can nearly be like, okay, they found a fucking massive factory of months, but the ad for the TV show is
A
like
TV show that won't be on television in 2 years' time.
yeah, it's bad.
It's just bad. You want me to believe that this character Sam exists, and you want me to buy into the fiction of this world, and then you have Norman Reedus as an AMC, and it's just so like, I get that you love this dude.
Yeah.
And like I've seen people on Twitter, and I've complained about this, and they've been like, well, you gotta pay the devs some way. And it's just like, if you think the devs get paid
I paid
through
€70
this,
for this game.
yeah, it's like, this is making millions, and that's like, oh, they can't possibly pay the people who make this
Like,
game without taking
even
Monster Energy.
Even the necklace shit, I'm a bit like,
Whatever,
well,
yeah,
sure, like,
it's
all
up
right.
to your prerogative.
You know, it's like, you know, if they invented like an original piece of jewelry for this game, I can understand that people would want that, and $340 seems like a fucking lot, but like, you know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, that stuff's just sucks, and like, it's like, if this is such a like important piece of art to Kojima, why is he compromising it with this stuff?
I think honestly he just thinks it's funny, but it's like, don't ask me to buy into something fully serious, something that's really dumb, which the story is so fucking dumb.
Kojima's a big fucking troll.
Yeah, he is, but he also...
I don't know that he is.
I think he's fully serious about this. I think he really
Yeah.
believes he's writing something good and special and deep, and it's
I
not.
used to think he's kind of a troll, and this game is changing my opinion on that.
Yeah, because the other day I was comparing him to Kanye West, where he's in his own universe, and he has a bunch of yes men telling him he's great, and I don't think anyone play tested this game properly and gave him like harsh feedback.
I don't
I'm sure they
think
bug
anyone-
tested it. I'm sure like it
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm sure there wasn't like a specialist like reviewer or something coming in.
But
actually.
like they didn't give him like a breakdown of the gameplay loop and, you know, tell him like this.
There was no editor. There was no person who could say no. There was no person who could push back. This is it.
And, you know, in some ways, like, the gameplay stuff we've talked about, I'm kind of like, awesome, that's cool. But, like, yeah, I'm really disappointed in the story stuff. And ultimately, I think, like, I like the gameplay stuff, but part of me is very skeptical that, like, it's going to, like, ever change, or that I've just kind of just experienced it, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 more things I want to talk about are the BTs and then the text in the menu.
Okay. God.
Okay. So the BTs, the first time you encounter the BTs, which are beach things, and these are kind of wandering ghosts that leave the beach and come back to the world of the living, but they're invisible, and Sam is able to detect them with BB. We didn't even get to BB, did we?
No, we haven't got to BB yet.
So the other day I was talking to my cousin and he said, who's Mads Mikkelsen in this game? And I explained who Mads Mikkelsen was. Then I had to explain who BBs were. Then I had to explain what BTs were. Then the chiral network. And it was just like, if you try and tug at one strand of this game, it's like you have to explain everything.
After chapter 3, you get more Mads.
Yeah.
I know what Mads is all about now. I've gotten
Is he
enough.
good?
He's good, but you know how sometimes you get a shitty Metal Gear Solid fight where it's just like you rinse and repeat step 1 to step 2 over and over. It's one of those fights.
I feel like every boss fight has been that. The first boss fight with a BT was so easy and so underwhelming.
The
was
one
really
that Troy
disappointed
Baker
by.
summons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing's a piece of piss.
But like most of them are.
Well, it's such a shame. He has done some, or at least he's been a part of some fucking amazing boss fights in his day.
I feel like the set pieces are actually kind of bad in this.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bryan.
The BTs are cool. The first time you encounter them, then you kind of know what to do, and then they're just kind of like something in your way, just another roadblock. And it does the same cutscene every single time. You know, you're going to like a BT circle on your map, and it's going to do the thing where your weird like detector is going to alert you, and then the music changes. I like that there's music for that bit, and it feels like, you know, you suddenly have to like lean forward on the couch and play the game for a brief moment. But I usually just like blast through those bits. I don't sneak past them anymore, because the stealth in this game it's not a stealth game really. But now I have like guns and stuff. Like I have like proper bullets now, so I can kill anything I want, living or dead. My biggest problem is the text, because I think this game was 100% designed and play tested on computer monitors. So imagine sitting 5 feet from your television and trying to read an email.
Yeah,
that's what the text.
And the menus, like they look beautiful.
Oh, and they're lovely.
They're cumbersome.
I
like
find
they're not sleek or smooth.
To me, what I find that there's a white glow on the text, and so it bleeds out some of the letters. So like the letter E and the letter O look the same from far away. I don't like that it individually itemizes all the items. I can understand that some items get degraded, but the way in Fire Emblem you have vulneries, and if you use one of your vulneries, it'll rank it below into, you know, 2 out of 3 vulneries. But it's like if you have 10 ladders, it says ladder, 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 ladder. It doesn't have ladder times 10 beside it. And I think that stuff could be streamlined, because it is a lot of you're scrolling down.
I feel like you could QA this game up a lot.
I do think this game will be patched, and this game has PS Plus written all over it. Like this time next year it'll be on PlayStation Plus.
I don't think that stuff will be patched at all. I think that's the vision. I think like when you say 10 ladders, for me it's because that's because you can put 1 ladder on your arm and one on your back and one here, and it's like about how you're bringing 10 ladders, you're going to find space for 10 ladders. They're not just 10 stacked together. But like my issue with the text is even in the right bottom corner you get a little bit of like blurb telling you where it has to go. That text is basically unreadable if you're not sitting up close to your TV, and there's absolutely no way to make that text bigger. There's no accessibility options in this whatsoever.
There is none.
And not like ignoring subtitles, which are okay-ish, but menu text, just absolutely nothing for you to change.
Yeah.
Guys, how much more of this game are you going to play?
I'm going to finish it.
I haven't played it in 5 days, gonna hold on to it for another week and see if I want to play it anymore. If I don't, I'll just trade it in.
So you think? Do you think you'll finish it?
Oh, no.
Because I could see myself finishing this next year. Like,
But Game of the Year is happening this year.
oh, I know what I think of it for Game of the Year.
Yeah, no. Like I
have an opinion on this game.
I do like this game. I've gotten what I needed out of it, but I'm just not its audience.
Yeah, I feel like this game is just such a letdown to me thematically. Like Kojima's just
It is very
banging
disappointing.
his stupid connective drum, and even in the game itself, it doesn't know what it fucking wants to say. So it'll say strands and ropes bring things together. Your strand rope, the only use for it is to attack the mules.
Yeah.
It'll say connection is important and connecting everyone to the network is good. Your phone, that is your like connection to the network, is a pair of literal handcuffs, so I guess it's bad. Likes are good. You give likes to people in the world when they use your stuff. NPCs give you likes. You're rated by likes. The mules are porters like you who have been driven mad by the adrenaline rush of likes because there's too many likes. And like you'll get emails where tablets have ruined cinema and being too technically advanced has ruined civilization. But we need to be connected, and the only way to do that is digital means, because we can be connected throughout the world. So it's always at odds with its own themes in every way. And the only way I can think that is, and I'm at chapter 3, and I have 2 theories what the ending is. I'm going to throw these out.
Sure.
And this is based on what I got. People can skip this bit if they want, because I
But
might be right.
it's not a spoiler. This is just your theory.
This is my theory. Yeah. So my first theory is we're not in America whatsoever, because the landscape is fucking weird and it's not American. And again, also for a game about America, they sing the London Bridge is Falling Down song a lot, and it's that tune is played all the time.
I do think it's like it's made by a Japanese person and it's set in the West, but it's like a mishmash of like Western things.
But they've literally said America a billion times. Okay, first the theory.
But also London Bridge is falling down.
Yeah, but London Bridge is falling down. I honestly think they just say because Bridge is in the title. So first one, I think we're on the moon. Because Mads Mikkelsen is going on about the moon all the time, and baby, I'll give you the moon, you know?
Okay.
So America doesn't exist. We're actually on the moon, and we think we're there. Second theory is because of all the mixed metaphors and how one thing is good but also bad, Sam, who thinks he's doing a good thing by connecting all America, is actually going to bring forth kind of like an Evangelion instrumentality project ending.
It's definitely got some Evangelion themes, that's for sure.
Like it's kind of like, actually, it was bad to connect us all. Whoa!
And that way the terrorist guy, the Homo Demons leader, Higgs,
yeah,
he wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah, and like I fucking hate Higgs. You meet Higgs and he's just like, my name's Higgs, and like anywhere else you'd be like, okay, and then you can like, you know, everyone can develop their little theories about Higgs, but Higgs goes, my name's Higgs, like the Higgs particle, the God particle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not clever.
It's just like everything is so spelt out and so shallow, and I just like, I'm so frustrated by it. And then just where the BBs come from with the still mothers are just gross. Conceptually.
They go more into the BBs later on. I think the idea with the BBs is that when the Death Stranding began, this was the way that they could like detect the dead, because it's a 7-month-old, no longer a fetus.
Oh, I understand that.
Like it's
but it's how they're made that's gross.
Yeah. They don't make them anymore, and they're being phased out. The BB you have, you shouldn't have. And there's a bit later on where like Del Toro's character really wants to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where the BBs come from is it's still mothers, and they're brain dead women who are impregnated and give birth to these, like, who their babies are like taken from them,
and the
around
babies
7
are like
months.
a product.
Yeah, and the babies are used as equipment, and like that's just like deeply gross for me, because again, about this game about connection, it's like what are women's role, and it's like
it's
as
all really
an incubator.
Like, it's all really like, oh, this is where they come from.
Yeah, it's just a lore drop. There's no criticism. There's no conversation about it. It's just like, that's where they come from.
No one at any point is like, wow, that's really fucked up.
Yeah, like no one's like, whoa, what the fuck?
I get the feeling in this world that nobody is directly related to each other anymore. Like you don't have siblings or parents. You're just sort of like raised out of a lab, and
But saying that it's all about fatherhood and stuff, it's like Sam's relationship with BB. It's like Sam's mother is the president, whose sister is like
the best damn
whose sister is the new president. So it is familial in a way.
It's so weird that like the president is done as like
older.
Yeah, and that like I guess it's like the Bush administration just passed down the crown.
It's so weird.
What the fuck?
It is a very frustrating but also fascinating game.
It gives a lot to talk about with very little to say.
And I have no doubt that this is not going to be our last conversation about that game.
No. Yeah.
I'm kind of curious though, like, what's left this year that you guys are like excited for, especially as we're heading into like Game of the Year season?
I think for me, I'm going to try and catch up on some things that you guys liked.
I can lend you Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
What are you going to try and catch up on?
Luigi's Mansion, maybe River City Girls, and Outer Worlds, and maybe try and play Jedi Fallen Order.
I'm either going to get Jedi Fallen Order in the Black Friday sales, because that is a Respawn game, and unfortunately Respawn games come out in November and then get their price cut later in November, because that's what happened with Titanfall too.
And both Jedi Fallen Order and Pokemon are coming out on like the same month as Shenmue 3, and it's like, fuck, guys,
Shenmue
I'm sorry.
just like obliterate it.
I think I actually heard that it was actually Yu Suzuki's benevolence that he pushed back Shenmue a couple of days so that it wouldn't like destroy the sales of those two other games. Which is really
how humble of him.
Yeah, it just I mean, Pokemon and Star Wars have always been kind of like the little train that could of franchises, and next to like a kind of behemoth like Shenmue, it was just really good of him to do that. I think like I respected and loved him even more. Yeah,
I'll probably get the new Star Wars game maybe at the end of the year, or else in January sales. Looks good.
You're missing Game of the Year.
I know. I'll fully support wherever that game lands. I'm not gonna contest it.
Completely not how Game of the Year works. No, you won't.
I'm gonna just chill. I'm not pushing. Like my favorite game at the moment is Luigi's Mansion, but I'm not gonna like.
We always say this every fucking year. We're all like, I don't care where any game lands in Game of the Year, and then it actually happens, and we start the discussion, and then 4 hours later we're just three fucking like feral people clawing at each other, trying to get our game as far as we can.
Can I take the temperature of the room then? Like, what games have you enjoyed a lot that you will want to talk about at the end of this year?
Honestly, Devil May Cry, big one for me.
I like Resident Evil 2. You like that too, Niamh?
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 for me. Control and Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem definitely.
Yeah, Fire Emblem.
I love that game.
Good. I'll need to see like a full list of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. Yeah.
Shenmue 3 is out next week.
Yeah, you gotta see.
Yeah.
Brian, you remember we had a conversation a while ago, and maybe it was on the podcast or maybe it wasn't, but you were like, John, you can't be excited about Shenmue 3. And I was totally on board with you. I was like, I know it's probably not going to be good. I am so far from that now. I am so fucking excited for that game.
Are you like a kid on Christmas morning?
I can't wait. I'm so excited that it's coming out.
The trailer that also made Niamh very excited is a very well put together trailer.
I like how they preserve the stilted voice acting of Ryo.
Yeah. Okay, but like I need to stress, that is a marketing department, not the game.
Yeah, it's true. But Landy, Brian.
I know.
Landy, let's fight.
That it was very, very cool. I don't know what it's going to be like in the final product.
His finger.
It's weird.
That's the most threatening gesture that Ryo's simple mind could construct.
Actually, just one last thing, because you said it to both of us at an event recently when we were talking about Death Stranding, but you were saying about David Cage.
Oh, yes. I honestly think after the writing in this game with Kojima that I have been too hard on David Cage. Because David Cage is tone deaf, will mine minority experience for content, but he is trying. He is trying to say something coherent. Kojima has his favorite actors and he has his favorite music, and he read a lot of Wikipedia articles, and he thinks all of it's so fucking brilliant that it's worth committing to $1 million billion game, and that we should all think it's great. And then he'll say that the people who reviewed it badly They were American and they didn't get it, despite it being a game about America.
Death Stranding flies higher.
It flies higher.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to talk about Death Stranding anymore.
I don't think anyone does. I think the
No.
fact that our podcast comes out so much later and we had the week preview of reviews.
Oh, people are so sick of it.
People are so
Yeah.
fucking done.
If someone sat through that entire conversation, wow, we really appreciate the loyalty.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's move into some Quicktime Events. It is.
Let's cut number 5.
What's that?
It's about Death Stranding. I don't want to fucking talk about that shit. Plus, we kind of just like, there's nothing to say. Let's talk about Overwatch. Because we had BlizzCon.
BlizzCon happened. Overwatch 2 was announced.
Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, end of story. Can't wait.
There you go.
Yep. Okay.
All is not forgiven.
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, that was a bad apology.
It was a non-apology.
It was so bad. And just the moment he goes, we failed in the high standard we had set for ourselves. What are you talking about?
Yeah, your video game company. Come on.
Yeah.
Fucking
You just sell toys.
fess up to it.
But yeah, it was super weak. I thought it sucked. Like there was nothing to it. There was no actual like owning up to anything wrong, and more importantly, there was no action. Apologies without action is just it's nothing, And like I think in kind of like the age we live in, I think like I'm thinking a lot about apologies and what a person has to do to apologize correctly. And the first thing is own up to it, and the second thing is like you watch them over time and see if they have actually improved. And in the short term, which is like when this punishment is effect against Blitzchung, Blizzard did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's fine for them to individually go in interviews and be like, well, I thought it was a bit harsher, we acted too quickly. It's like, you didn't act too quickly. Like, if you had made the right decision, it wouldn't have mattered how quickly you acted. You made the wrong decision. That's the fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of this has been said already. I don't have anything particular to add new to it, but man, Blizzard...
I'm out. Like, I'm not buying Overwatch 2. I'm just kind of done with it. It's really been disillusioning. Like, not really disillusioning. Like, I don't know if I expected more or less, but I'm just kind of done.
Can I make a about Overwatch 2?
Yeah.
Why didn't they change the fucking outfits?
The weird thing about Overwatch 2, so we'll just talk about this a bit. So Overwatch 2 seems to just be it's a PvE add-on. So the PvP, player versus player, will coincide throughout both games. The player base will not be split. The new game modes for 2 will be available in the base game that you already have. And the only things that might be locked, I think, are costumes. Characters will be across both. So the only thing that's locked is PvE, which was a thing that would be in events anyway. So it kind of just seems like they're charging you a lot of money for event content that they kind of would have probably done anyway. And I don't know why this needs to be a full add-on when it's kind of crossing the player bases.
It's kind of baffling because I would have thought that Overwatch 2 slam dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was something that people are going to lose their minds over. Do you know what I mean? And
people are just like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, even like Overwatch fans are so muted about it.
Again, I just think people are a little bit like, what are you doing? They announced a new hero,
Sojourn.
Yeah, and like
she's cool.
Yeah, she's the kind of first black Overwatch hero, but people also kind of felt it was like a break glass in case of emergency, that this character should have happened way before the fucking hamster, before literally everyone.
The reason they gave was so bad. It was like, well, we only reserved her because of story reasons, and it's like, wait, so you peel that back and you're like, so she's like a black lady. You couldn't have put like another black lady in it when it's something that everyone is like, it's really weird, this isn't a thing. I mean, Apex Legend launched with 2 black ladies.
Yeah.
That was fine as far as I remember. Like the universe didn't fucking implode. It's weird, and it just sends out this really weird messaging. And they put out this really fucked up interview as well with the like, we don't want to be seen as pandering. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Why are you bringing up that word? Like you were like like first committed to diversity, then you're not, then you do a character and she couldn't exist because of story, despite your game not really having story. Anyway, that didn't seem to go over too well with people, and it seemed half-baked. Like, there wasn't an official cosplayer, which they've had for everyone, like Moira and everyone else.
Yeah.
There wasn't, like, any cinematic or anything
Yeah,
like
it's a
that
rush
that
job.
really featured her. It felt rushed out. So then I feel like this week they did another break class in case of emergency, and it's Dr. Mercy. So it's Mercy with her glasses and her doctor's coat, which has been... Basically, they love to mine fan art for good ideas, like Undercut Hanzo.
We're reaching out to the community and putting it in the game.
They won't even mention the community. This is our fresh, cool idea. But, like, they couldn't take off her boots because they're clearly baked into her model. So they just put a coat on her and, like, some glasses. And they were like, look, she's a doctor and she's hot. Don't you love it? And people were like, oh, yeah, I guess I do. And it was just like, okay, the first thing that didn't work, we're breaking out Dr. Mercy. Please like us again. That's what it feels like.
What a strange company.
Do you know, there was a time when Blizzard were just like, they were golden. Like, they could do no wrong. Like, I can remember that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, man, they have fallen far.
I think you don't try and appeal to, like, the idea, like, the whole concept of Overwatch was, like, these people coming together and they're all from around the world and they're different people and that's cool. And then completely do what you did when it came to BlitzCon.
Yeah, there's an insincerity that is so just galling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, it was always marketing, it was always for money, but like,
Yeah.
it peeled away the veneer, and the dirty, filthy truth of it all was kind of there. I think people are tired.
Speaking of peeling away a dirty, filthy veneer, the new Sonic redesign.
Yeah. This is a huge improvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks great.
This came out a couple days ago, and I had to stop what I was doing and watch the Sonic trailer. And it's gone from a disaster shit show that I wanted to see to a very acceptable children's movie that I will probably see as well.
Did you guys have that moment where, like, you see the new design and you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cute, and then you see a side by side of the new and the old design, and you're like, that's what the old one looked like?
Yeah.
It had so much teeth.
It's hideous.
I really liked how, because they have the meow scene put in the new trailer, so you can actually, like, you know, compare and contrast those two. But it has one as well where Sonic is sitting in the chair in the front seat of the Jeep. And in the original, they just sort of, like, dropped in his standing model in the Jeep, but now he's, like, actually sitting down into the chair and kind of interacting and relaxing, and it's just a big improvement.
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah.
They brought on Tyson Hess, which
Yeah.
obviously makes sense to like bring him on.
He's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can remember like 10 years ago reading his like Sonic like comics where he was taking the piss out of Sonic with like Nipples the Enchilada and and Batface LaRouge. And it's just so funny that like it's come full circle and now he's like like fixing official Sega problems.
Oh, I think like to make Sonic work, you need to put it in the hands of the kind of lunatics who still like Sonic.
Yeah. There's a friend of mine at work, and a couple months ago he said, why can't liking Sonic be a normal thing? And, you know, like, that definitely comes in waves. Like, Sonic has rises, he has falls. Like, Sonic 06, kind of from the late 2000s, was kind of a shitty period.
What do you think was the moments where, like, because, like, Sonic and Mario's paths were, like, the same for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
When did they divide?
I think around the time of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, that's when Mario Sunshine came out, and it was just like one took itself way too seriously, and then the other one took itself like seriously enough, but like didn't go beyond it. And I think it's the bit in Sonic Adventure. I think it may, or it might be Shadow the Hedgehog. There's a bit where the President of America has a framed photo of Sonic and Shadow on his desk, and that's kind of when
You think that's the moments?
Yeah, the bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, like for me, that's it.
That moment's more Kojima than that Stranding is.
Yeah. I just don't know why the President of America would have a framed photo of Sonic and Shadow on his desk.
Maybe the moment that Sonic made out with a human girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sonic 06, yeah.
Yep.
With just the Final Fantasy girl.
But yeah. And finally, we got the Xbox Direct.
Yeah. I don't know what this was called. I just...
So this basically was Xbox kind of doing like
a keynote.
Their full pretty much their plans for streaming.
Yeah.
And in essence, I would say giving Stadia a lot to worry about.
Oh yeah, completely.
Good. I like competition.
Yeah.
The Game Pass is something that will make me consider getting an Xbox next generation.
Yeah, and that initial lineup is real good.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some quality stuff on there.
Like Sony barely pushed PlayStation now.
Yeah.
They have recently. Did you notice on your homepage that the PlayStation Now icon is there?
Yep.
I hate when they advertise to me there. It's
I got that, and then I just removed the app.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. That new Rare game looks really cool.
What's it called?
I don't know, but it's a bit like Breath of the Wild, but like way less of a HUD and more kind of directionless, I guess, by the looks of it.
Interesting.
But it looks lovely. I'm glad Rare are allowed to make games still.
Yeah, me too.
There was that game from... Is it Dontnod? Is that
Dontnod, the Life is Strange developers. It's called Tell Me Why. And I think the thing about this one is it's kind of a trans man protagonist. There's been a little bit of pushback against this online because people were asking, was there actually any trans people in its development? They had sensitivity coaches and stuff like that, but I think that was kind of a long way to say no. And it's as a fan of Life is Strange, and when pickings are slim for representation, I think this will hit its mark and people will like it and get a lot out of it. But there's also the danger of it falling so far into pitfalls that people who don't have that lived experience don't understand as a pitfall, and that's a little worrying. But hopefully it won't go there.
I feel like I heard the first episode of Life is Strange 2 came out, and then I never heard anything about it again.
That's about the two brothers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I played the original Life is Strange and the prequel, and I find you get about 70% through those games and you're really, really enjoying it, but then they don't stick the landing, and the last episode kind of shits the bed.
It's kind of weird because Before the Storm really self-corrected a lot of stuff. Life is Strange really fell into a lot of tropes, like dead lesbian tropes kind of thing. Like the good ending is killing the gay.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing. Before the Storm, they clearly had more sensitivity and better writers on it, and Chloe was a much fleshed out character, and those relationships were much more at the forefront.
I liked Before the Storm.
Yeah.
I really, really like episode 2.
But the problem with Before the Storm is it's a prequel, so it kind of has to fulfill the trope because that's where it was.
It sets up Rachel's demise.
So it was sad, but they did a way better job. So I'm hopeful that this will be a good game that will provide representation for...
From what I've heard with this game,
people.
is it's 3 episodes and they're being released all at the same time. So it means the game will be
finished.
Start to finish, so you'll actually know whether it's worth putting your time into as to whether it sticks the landing or not.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't have a cop-out ending.
But I think it's good that these games are being made. I think generally this is a positive and good thing. Could be better. Obviously, a lot of things could be better. But when you're gay and when you're trans, you just gotta lick your fingers and suck up all those crumbs, because that's all you get. Little tasty lesbian crumbs.
Really clumsy baby steps that are just halfway problems.
And people are like, wow, this sucks. I'm 31 years old. It's still fucking sucking all my life. It's gonna keep sucking because people aren't hiring gay people, and it's just fucking shit. And it's a really slow march, and then you've got stupid fucking assholes being like, oh, they're shoehorned in there. And it's just where are they? Where are they? I'd love to play these shoehorned in games.
I love it. The guy's like, are you happy now? And you're like, no,
but I'll fucking take it because it's all there is.
Emails.
Did you know that we have an email address? To live in the modern world, you need to be contactable by electronic mail.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to contact us, what would you type into a computer?
Hideo Kojima at kojimaproductions.deathstranding.com.
It will be Bryan at files@piratebay.lol.
Yeah. Will I give out my ICQ?
Sure.
It's Blades777.
Niamh's going to call out her IBAN now. If you want to,
It's 42069.
Whoa!
AskLet'sFightABoss@gmail.com. That's AskLet'sFightABoss@gmail.com.
You better ask us.
You better ask us.
Let's fight a boss @gmail.com.
You know what my favorite kind of email is?
What?
The kind of email that has the question in the subject line. It makes me so fucking happy.
Way to optimize that shit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Alright. Let's look at some emails.
Let's break open the email chest.
Whoa, there's a lot of words. Oh my god. Are you sure you guys want to type that much words? Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna take this one from Muhammad about burnout. I'm currently in university, and a big problem I face is burnout. For example, I've been studying for a couple of days straight, and I might wake up one day and my body just rejects studying. During that time, I try to force myself to work, which ends up wearing me out even more, and once I've realized that I do have burnout, it ends up putting me down even more because of the realization that the time wasted could have been used to relax or even work on the ideas for the project I want to start. So my question is there any way to avoid burnout? If not, is there a way to realize that you have burnout before you start to force yourself to work, or that a simple break is not going to solve it? And quickly, kind of related to this, how do you guys handle balancing work, personal projects, and consuming media? I especially would like to hear an answer from Josh on this. Such a serious email, and then he just drops in Josh on the subject because his job doesn't have concrete work hours, and I feel an insight would help with study flow. Josh, you don't have to go into detail if you don't want to. I don't like it all, Mohammed. Thank you for asking. What do you guys feel about this?
I do find you could be way too hard on yourself sometimes, and then the time dwelling on that is like, well, now I'm wasting even more time, and you're like, you're like treating it like you're maximizing something at all times, I guess.
I feel like that's just such a problem now in general, that every moment right now has to be a well-used moment.
Gotta optimize your time matrix, Niamh.
Oh, it's fucking horrible. It's terrible. And the guilt you feel for not doing it is
absolutely.
so real and so crushing.
And like, I completely get working, doing a good job, and then doing, putting time aside then because you've earned it. But sometimes you do have to just like have a cheat day, have a cheat moment.
Oh yeah, cheat weekend.
Yeah.
Cheat week.
And you can't be hard on yourself for it.
In a row.
Yeah, like you really, really, really can't be hard about that. Like we're not automated machines.
For me, it definitely got very difficult after a point, especially last year, where like I was just working constantly. And I remember like even last year, I was saying to myself like, if I can get my workload down to 10 hours a day and take at least one weekend a week, then I'll be okay. But that's still like a 60-hour work week every week, and like often way more than that with like just one day off. And it was really hard to get out of the mindset to stop doing that. And I think what really helped me in the end was the kind of realization that like in its own way, rest is also part of productivity. And this is a way I kind of like convince myself to actually like, take a day off or take a weekend off and just rest, because I know come that Monday I'm going to be like in genuine fighting form, and I'll be at like 100%, and I'll probably do work that like would not be possible, or I'll do the work to a standard that would not be possible if I had worked through the weekend, And like last year I did several videos where I'd work like say 14 days in a row, and by the end of it like I'm just producing shit, like just utter garbage, because at that point I'm at like 20% capacity, and I might be spending like 10, 11, 15 hours working, I'm probably getting like 3 or 4 good hours done, and the rest is going to be something that I have to redo, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so like this year, a big thing for me has been like just accepting like, whoa, like we need a certain amount of time to operate, to be like creative, to see the ideas, to like actually find the core of what I'm trying to say with like videos and stuff. I need time off, and my mind needs to rest, because that's where a lot of the good stuff comes. And so for me, like, I definitely get about like taking it easy on yourself and self-care and all that stuff, but that ended up nearly not being enough for me in a really fucked up kind of way. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's really like I couldn't accept that, but when I shifted into like, no, if I want to be at my most productive, I actually kind of have to rest, and I have to force this time, and I have to give myself the space to like find new kinds of media and just experience all these different things. That's when like I think my mind kind of started accepting it more. And I think if you're really struggling with the idea that you need to take a day off, you probably should, because I think when a lot of people are happy and healthy, they're happy to work. Like when I'm in good form, I can't fucking wait to get to work. You know, I love it. And it's only when I'm really exhausted that I start resisting that. I know everyone's different with that, and it's going to vary from person to person, but yeah, resting and recuperating and letting yourself regenerate, that is a big part of like doing the best job you can do. And so it's something you should take seriously. Rest is something you should take as seriously as work, and I hope that helps.
I think it's good to also know that everyone is very different.
Yeah.
So if you see someone going full force all the time, that's just a different energy level to you.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't compare yourself to others with
Yeah.
that. Like,
I also
it does happen in college that you're all in this together, and there is a bit of kind of camaraderie, but sometimes that can be like unrealistic competition.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like people will be very dishonest about how much they are working. Some
Yeah.
people will vastly undersell how much they're working. Some people will vastly oversell how much
They
they're
will
working.
exaggerate the numbers for sure.
And
You
like,
can for sure sit at your desk for 8 hours, but you might only be working for 3 of them.
yeah, well, like that's one of the things I kind of found very difficult when I started doing YouTube stuff, because like in a lot of my old jobs, there was often the option to just fucking coast for a day, and like it's cool, you make it up tomorrow. But then like when it was just YouTube stuff, it's like, oh shit, I have to make several very difficult creative decisions today and follow through on all of them. And so it was like energy, maximum output all the time. It was like always deadline time. But as well, burnout catches up with everyone eventually. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, I've known enough people, like creative people over the years, that like, and seen enough people really burn themselves out to the point that like they can do great for like a month, 6 months, a year. But it catches up with everyone, and it's sad sometimes, because like I have friends who I know they're unhappy doing what they're doing, but they've kind of convinced themselves that it has to be this all or nothing thing, you know? It's tricky.
I think it's good also to identify your best hours.
Yeah.
When are you most productive? How long are you actually productive for? And then are those 3 hours you pissing away doing nothing? And maybe those would be better spent sitting down and watching a movie and playing a game.
100%.
Because you're relaxing, but you're, doing something you enjoy. And those were hours that you would just be dicking away on like Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, there's also activities that are completely not related to whatever your goal is, that I think can really help you in it. Like, I don't know how many times I've been coming home from jiu-jitsu and been like, oh, fucking, of course, that's what this video was missing, or that's what this thing needed.
Yeah, it's just taking a step back.
Yeah, take yourself out of your zone and give yourself some perspective.
Yeah. I think it's a good question, because it answers a lot of things that are indirectly connected.
Yeah.
You can apply this to a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Get out of yourself.
Yeah. All right, I got one here from Lizard King.
Cool.
It's atypical male characters. Lizard King says, recently I have been thinking of my favorite male characters in media, and some of the ones that jump out to me have been Guts from Berserk, Johnny Joestar from JoJo Part 7, and Shinji from Evangelion. I've noticed a commonality among them is that they have traits that are atypical to your average male power fantasy protagonists. all these characters have nuance to them and feel like great examples of male role models, examples of male characters being allowed to have more emotions that aren't being tied to being masculine. So my question is, what are some of your favorite atypical male characters in media and why? I thought this was a really interesting question.
Totally.
Yeah. I've got two that comes to mind straight away.
Hit us.
Titus from Final Fantasy X, he cries, which a lot of people took as a big contentious thing, but if you actually put together all the things he's crying about, you would cry too. And I think that was really nice to have a Final Fantasy protagonist be a kind of cool sports jock, but also be emotional and sensitive, and also realize stuff that he was doing was wrong and hurtful. And he's just kind of a very fleshed out emotional character who is still, you know, very much a guy and very... And the other is like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know?
He's had a tough time.
He's had a tough time. He's like a hero. He is the hero of the franchise. But like in the end, he, you know, rejects violence.
Yeah. I actually like the idea of like men crying, because in the Odyssey, Odysseus, because I did classical studies, he comes home from God, I can't remember classical studies at all. He loses all his men on his boat, and it's just him on the island with sirens, and he's just mourning for them. And it was written back then that like to cry for every single crewmate was incredibly masculine. And it was that you were showing emotion, and that was like the most like buff thing you could do. And now it's like the complete opposite of that is so interesting.
You know, in Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro cries like all the fucking time.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But like it's yeah, like you know how sometimes they'll do the tear, but then like other times it's like the burst into tears. Like, you know how it does that one bit in Mad Men where Don Draper just fucking like breaks.
Yeah.
And he just does it in front of a coworker, and it's just like that's his like version of like screaming out the window, I can't take it anymore.
I really love Giorno Giovanni from Part 5. I think it's really interesting because like you have all these like really hyper masculine characters, maybe a little less so with Josuke, but like Jonathan, Joseph, and Jotaro are all in their own way like really, really masculine. And then you get Giorno, and like he's this effeminate little elf boy, but like not only that, he's like, when you look at his place in the story, he win. Do you know how many like one-on-one fights Giorno wins?
Maybe
like
one,
a proper stand battle.
I think maybe one at the beginning.
One.
Yeah.
One. He like he fights Luca, but that's barely a fight at all. But he has one win against an automatic stand user, and the rest of the series he's confined as like a support role. He either inspires the other characters or he heals them, and it's kind of cool because I feel like it's this different kind of strength that he sort of brings to Part 5. And I think that's in part why I think a lot of Western fans maybe don't really connect, at least Western male fans don't really connect with Giorno in the same way they would the other characters. But to me, it's kind of what makes him great. I think he really flies in the face of a lot of the kind of traditional masculinity that JoJo's had kind of pushed up at that point. And it's cool. Like, it's really, really cool.
Even his stand ability to kind of create life is really not a masculine
idea. That's maternal.
Yeah.
I like Usopp in One Piece. He's got such an interesting arc from like where he began to where he is now in One Piece, and that he was just this kind of like gag character that would have the biggest range of emotions. He wasn't a stoic character. He would panic and cry and, you know, react as a human would on that planet, you know, if we were to fight a freakishly weird fish man that was 10 times our own strength. And he's an interesting shonen kind of side protagonist in that he kind of just he's incredibly scrappy, and he does not win fights gracefully, but he wins them like in a very clever way, but there's no real kind of like flourish or style to them until later on where he gets more confident. And I like that. I like male characters getting more confident, but it's earned.
think Gone from Hunter x Hunter.
I was just going to say
also
maybe
really-
literally all the male characters
Yeah,
from Hunter.
I was actually gonna
like
say that as
Leorio,
well,
Kurapika.
Kurapika's kind of is a question mark there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then,
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, even when you're talking about like alternative ideas of masculinity, you can also talk about non-binary people, trans men, you know, just like gender non-conforming women. It's just like redefining masculinity is a really interesting concept generally.
And it's
I
weird
like Kurapika for that.
because like
He
there's
embodies
also a
that.
moment where like Gone gives into like all the like serious, just like negative, hateful shit in him, and that's when he's like at his he goes through the big transformation. He's at his most masculine then. That's kind of interesting. Like obviously like masculinity isn't inherently evil, but I think it is cool when you see people play around with it in writing and experiment with different kinds of characters, because there's a lot of He-Men, you know, and I like a lot of those characters, but I just appreciate when it's something different, you know.
It's just like everyone is rounded and exists as a person, and I think sometimes masculinity, when it's depicted in media, is this very, very narrow scope that nearly ignores the humanity of men. And that's like
100%.
and it's
Absolutely.
just like that's such an upsetting concept
it's so
to
sad.
present to young boys and just people in general, that this is it. This is the mold of what makes someone a hero and what makes someone powerful and special, is to kind of ignore.
And like as
humanity.
a dude growing up, you just face that constantly, where it's like, this is what you are, right?
Yeah,
You know, and like it's a lot of pressure for young lads, and like I hope it's better today than it was when I grew up.
I don't know. Everything seems extremely
they make things black and white way more now.
binary. Yeah.
Like for me, I guess like my favorite depictions of masculinity are when they put the male character, or you know, a male oriented character, in a paternal or older brother role where they're protective, but maybe they're protective in a headstrong way, but they need to kind of calm themselves and learn it from a more emotional place, and so there's a growth there. I like those kind of stories.
That can be a lot of
You like Good Time a lot because of that with Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah. And like I guess even Kiryu in Yakuza, like he's a big buff guy, but he's always about protecting people, but it comes from like a place of anger, but then he needs to change it to a place of love. But I like those kind of stories.
I love Kiryu for that as well, because like he's also like a very respectful person that's like never dismissive of anyone, like no matter who he and like comes into. And like the depiction of like trans characters and stuff, not good in Yakuza, but like even when Kiryu meets them, he's respectful to them, and I appreciate that at least.
Oh, throwing out Dale Cooper.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Dale Cooper. I really like. I hate the trope of like the government man and the local sheriff, and they butt heads. I love Dale Cooper and Sheriff Truman's relationship in the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, and just that they just connect on a like emotional and spiritual level. And like Dale like introduces the ideas of Tibet and stuff to them.
What's the name of the other secret agent from that?
Andy.
And not Andy. Not secret agent, the FBI.
The one that's mean and gets nice.
Until he's not. Until the one scene where he's like, I love you, Sheriff Truman. I think that's like a fucking great example of that as well.
I can't remember that guy. I can't remember the actor's name. Yeah, he's brilliant. Like he's dead now, but he's fantastic in that role.
Well, guys, that's our deep dive into masculinity. Let's say we do some Patreon shoutouts.
Yes. So, you got $3?
I got $3.
Well, we got a Patreon.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. And
Holy shit.
our podcast is, you know, it's got a Patreon.
Wait, now hang on. Am I giving $3 to Patreon or $3 to you?
To us?
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah, there's 3 of us here, so it could be like $1 each if you want.
Okay, where do I need to go? I'm going to write down the address on this envelope.
That is
67 Patron Street. What am I doing here?
You go on the internet.
Where I don't. What's that?
It's on a computer, and it's you open up a window.
Okay, you have lost me, but I'll keep listening.
Okay, Gramps. So you got to open up a window and you type in patreon.com/LFAB.
Right.
You can donate whenever you want,
Okay.
but $3 gets you into our Discord with a lot of cool, lovely people, and then it gets you to listen to our back catalogue of embarrassing episodes from the past.
The black tapes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also do a Patreon shout out.
We do a Patreon shout out, and you could sound a little something like this, Niamh, go.
Shit.
Bryan, save us.
No, I got it. JJX2525. I can't believe. I see what you did. How you guys pronounce stuff sometimes. He spelled believe
That's
like you would
very
Niamh.
clever.
Yeah.
Because I looked at this and I was like, wow, what's wrong with this young gentleman?
Yeah, sorry. That's like, I guess, being Irish.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Believe
next,
is spelt like how the end of Niamh's name is spelt.
this next
M
one.
and H make a V sound.
They do.
This next one is from Cogzilla. Shoutouts to Trouble, the cool doggo. Hell yeah, Trouble's a great name for a dog.
Why'd you give me the other one? I fucking...
That's why.
This is from 40 Tentacles. What do I gotta do to get a hello from the boss cast?
How wow.
John?
You got two. He's probably just
No,
No,
no.
John.
I don't want to say it.
John, $3. That's 3 hellos.
Please no bully.
I hate that stupid meme and the weird little fucking...
Please.
Please.
Hello.
Hello.
How wow.
Hello.
I think that's enough.
John, just one more.
No.
John, I
No.
didn't get it.
No.
I didn't
Yes,
get...
you fucking did.
No,
I said it right into the microphone. My microphone etiquette is perfect, Bryan.
Could you say hello?
No.
Please.
Hello.
So there you go. We got to say it twice. I hope you're happy.
I'm not. Okay. I want to say thank you to everyone on the Discord, and also just like, last episode we talked about a deleted user from the Discord,
Oh, yeah.
and that dude ended up getting in touch, and it's, I don't want to say too much, but it was basically like, you know, they had some kind of like financial stuff going on. They were kind of like worried that they felt maybe a bit awkward about like hanging around the Discord. And look, if someone, like, just to say, if someone like is a patron, like even once, like, you're good, you can hang around the Discord as much as you want. Like, don't feel a need to not do that. Don't get me wrong, don't get us wrong, we super appreciate everyone who supports us, and it is loud. You know, if you're watching like the YouTube channel at the moment, you're seeing all the different Let's Plays go up, like, that is because of that, and we are insanely appreciative.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But also, like, you know, as long as you're not like a fucking tit, you can hang around the Discord.
Yeah, no, like, we like our community.
Yeah,
and
there's some cool folk in that place.
You're more than welcome to
Absolutely.
stick around. I was just going to say as well, sometimes people have a bit of trouble when they support us on Patreon. They don't get the email, or it gets sent to their junk folder. If that happens, do direct message us. We'll sort you out.
We'll hook you up.
It doesn't happen to everyone. It seems to happen to maybe like 1 or 2% of people.
Yeah, it's like a tiny amount, but like it does happen.
But we do want to make sure you get what you support. So please do contact us if you didn't get the Discord link or the Patreon, or the black tapes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all the cleanup out of the way, all we got left is a nice, fat loot drop.
Big old fat one.
Niamh, take us away.
I got one.
Yeah.
Wabi Sabi. When bad photographs are better.
I watched this too on the bus. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is Jamie Windsor, and it's about photography, and it's just about sometimes just like, and I think this is a really good thing, as no matter what artistic field you're in, is to kind of take tips from people in other creative fields. So this is kind of about in the kind of pursuit of perfection that we kind of forget about the beauty of imperfection.
And happy accidents.
And happy accidents, and that not everything has to be perfect, and especially with like technological advantages, like with cameras specifically, because this is about photography. Perfection can kind of overshadow personality and humanity.
Do you ever upload a picture that you're like, oh, I kind of fucked up on this one, but hell, I'll upload it? Way more like attention than any of your like good pictures.
Yes.
It just makes it more relatable, because people are like, oh, yeah, a human made this.
Yeah, and you could slave at something for hours, and people will look at it the same amount of time they look at something you slaved for way less time. And it's just like, sometimes the quick idea and the quick gesture and the moment that you try and capture is way more powerful and important than...
I can't tell you how many of my like stupid random ideas did so much better than like my big planned masterpiece.
Oh yeah, and like there are some goofs in our Let's Plays because we're still figuring it out.
But that's charm.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. I'm glad they're in there, and yeah, it's the pursuit.
Yeah, being authentic to yourself and your creative vision is way more important than trying to chase an ideal that might not be you.
Yeah.
I got Super Bunny Hops gaming while colorblind. Been a big fan of Super Bunny Hops channel for a long time, and one of my favorite things about him is his ability to make these seemingly really mundane topics like motion sickness or color blindness actually like super entertaining. And he just recently put out a video on colorblind. I'm a little bit colorblind, not to the point that it ever like I need to compensate for it, but like there's certain shades of brown and green that are completely interchangeable to me. One time I was wearing a brown hoodie for like a year. I didn't know it was brown. Fucking appalled.
I remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, this was just a super good video, and he's very good at what he does.
Yeah. Mine is video game story time. This is a girl who just tells you like cute stories about how video games were made, or just nice observations about a game. This one is on Luigi's Mansion 3 and just how that game was made in the studio Next Level Games of Vancouver, and how it's a very well-run studio and everyone is happy to work there, and it has great Glassdoor reviews. And that's not something you hear about a lot in games.
No.
Ever, really.
No.
And so it just seems like the folks who made that game, they made a great game and they had a great time making it, which is...
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the drawings are super cute.
Yeah, dude. Guys, that's going to do it. With yet another episode of the Let's Fight a Boss cast.
Is this the last episode? We don't know.
It could well be.
It's not.
It's a really good chance it's not.
But,
Hey, listen.
Who knows?
I don't know. We're going to live forever?
Could all die tomorrow.
We're all going to hell!
If you haven't been checking out the YouTube channel, we have 3 separate Let's Plays going up there. Bryan is playing through Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I am playing through Silent Hill 2. And our Shenmue Let's Play is continuing, and the most recent episode 3 and I think episode 4 that follows are my personal favorites video thing we've ever done. I think we really got into the swing of that game, and there were some real fucking nightmares that happened along the way, and Shenmue's going to be releasing every Friday.
Yeah.
So
the bit with the phone.
Hypest shit ever.
It was. It really was.
A perfect storm got us to a point where that one phone call was so important. And getting on a bus was very hard.
Sure was.
But it's all so fucking exciting, because we know if we screw up, we're going to lose 30 real life minutes from our lives.
Oh my god.
Oh, thank you for joining us, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.